And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Hope everybody had an outstanding weekend. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We know that some of you starting school today, so to the children we say, I'm sorry. To the parents we say, congratulations. School back in order. Joe, what's going on?
Yeah. Happy first day of school. Unbelievable. So basically summer's over in a sense. I'm doing okay. Also for the second oldest kid, had a big crawfish boil going away party yesterday. So
Sweet.
Shout out to the Shanes, who basically are the people, responsible for my gout. And I sat there and mostly watched everybody else eat 78 pounds of crawfish. But there was some corn in there, some mushrooms that were really good.
It's good.
Stuff like that. Made my famous broccoli salad with turkey bacon, gout friendly.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I guess there is like a ban on gout talk, isn't there? But it just keeps coming up. It became like this pun, like, hey, no gout about it. That's a really good it's like it's become this just running joke in the town of Nolensville. So
I'm glad that you can provide these people with entertainment.
Yeah, it's the least I can do.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Kind of hurts today, too, by the way.
Oh, boy. That's not good. Not good.
Still wearing the flip-flops.
Yeah, does the weather affect gout?
It's a good question. I really don't know. Maybe that's a good point because people their knee acts up when it gets a little rainy and cool. Yeah,
cold. Yeah, cold's
okay.
not good for that.
I'll add that to the list of questions. For my doctor.
According to the AI overview, yes, weather, particularly temperature and humidity, can affect gout. I don't know what they thought I meant by weather.
Someday you could be like me and get gout.
Yes, torrential rain can affect gout, but yes, temperature and humidity has an effect on gout. Cold temperatures can cause uric acid crystals to form in the joints, so don't do that.
Oh,
don't get out in the cold.
Well, definitely not ever moving back to Michigan. Then that's good to know. If that wasn't decided already, here we go. We just decided today.
Ian, how we doing? Ian, apparently was telling me before the show. Apparently, the Williamson County Fair very popular.
I mean,
weekend.
The entire county must have been there Saturday at some point. It was ridiculous. Tried to go Saturday night, waited in traffic, and then you have people coming off the interstate and making all types. It was like craziness out there. No one was paying attention to any of the roads, just driving all willy-nilly, being wild, honking horns, pulling or putting their windows down and yelling at each other through the stuff, and it was a disaster.
Chaos.
You've brought up another grievance that I wasn't even. So somehow I got to be the parent to take 6 kids home Saturday night at 11 p.m. Like, yay, I won. So I again, I'm not complaining. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, okay? Other parents do a lot of other stuff and take our But I mean, I took on Friday and I picked up on Saturday.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
That's a lot of responsibility.
That's kind of that's a lot of that's a lot of
there was like
work.
Overflow. You had to park, get on a school bus, and then
oh really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And it was like, all right, we're out of here. We bailed.
Overflow with the school bus.
Yeah.
Oh man, that stinks.
Ian said, "Now we're good, man. I'm not getting involved in all this stuff."
Yeah, it's always chaotic. I mean, it's always chaotic. You find like when you're picking up, you just find a parking spot and then hope that they can find your car.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any of the stuff you're talking about.
People yelling at each other.
Yeah, it was like 6 o'clock or so, 7 o'clock on Saturday night, trying to drive in there. Man.
Yeah, that's no Wilson County Fair.
No,
I mean, that's the one I want to check.
Yeah,
out.
it's not even like
on
the
earth
state
are.
fair or anything. So whatever.
Big stuff out there. So I hope everybody had a great weekend here. We got a lot to get
What'd
to.
you do?
I had a birthday party for my 2-year-old.
Yeah,
and
that's
I just
the big weekend.
basically just sat there on the grill and fired up some burgers and hot dogs. That's what I did.
And Frozen theme?
Frozen, a lot of Frozen stuff.
A lot of
going
Frozen,
on.
yeah.
And we have now acquired more Frozen things, including this microphone that plays Let It Go at an incredible volume at all times.
I think I'm familiar with that one.
Which has been a lot of fun to have that just blaring throughout the house the last couple of days. So appreciate, shout out to Ryan Stanley, my brother, for buying that. I'm sure for Allison, more so for me, just to see how much that could drive me nuts. So thanks.
That builds character.
Yeah. Really looking forward to it.
Before I now have to follow up with that too. Every single story, I just have to add in my little. So one of the gifts that Brennan got was we've had a huge issue in our house for years of him blasting music and these speakers, and then I'll take the speakers and hide them and whatever. And he got a green and white Michigan State speaker last night. So for the next 2 weeks of hell that we can look forward to before he leaves, he is going to be blasting that thing.
Just absolute, like a concert.
Yeah.
Going on in there. Good stuff.
Maybe not Let It Go, though.
Well,
I would actually take Let It Go over some of the Memphis rap he listens to.
We got Corey Curtis later in the program at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on all things Tennessee Titans, his observations from Titans training camp. Rob Rant coming up later in the program. We'll get into the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas. Is he going to be traded? Is the situation going to be resolved? How did it deteriorate to this point? Should the Titans pursue Micah Parsons? We'll get into all those things later in the program as well. But, Joe, we begin today on the latest information from Titans training camp. So, apparently, I guess it was Saturday, the offense had a little bit of a better day, right? So, Cam Ward did not turn the ball over. Offense had a little bit better of a day, which, frankly, I was like, is that ever going to happen at any point in camp? And then finally it did, so you felt good about it. And then apparently yesterday it all came crashing back down to earth again for the offense, and they could get nothing going to the point where, and I'll just read a tweet from Terry McCormick, who was there yesterday at practice, quote, Brian Callahan just ended Titans practice with a profanity-filled tirade at his offense about how poorly they practiced yesterday. And based on people who were there, whether it's Andrew or TD or Paul Kuharski, apparently did not go well for really any offense, any part of the offense yesterday. First team, second team, third team, take your pick. The offense, not very good yesterday. And Brian Callahan felt strongly enough about it where he just basically cussed them all out at the end of practice yesterday. So, Joe, what do we make of that? And how concerned are we that it doesn't seem like the offense is getting much traction at this point in training camp?
Yeah, I mean, it can't be unconcerning, and I'm totally in a see it when I believe it mode with the defense making any kind of significant step forward. Obviously, Cody Barton is an ad who seems to be a good ad. I am a believer because I've seen him play at a high level. I'm a believer that 98 is going to have a good year. And then there was some, I guess you would say, optimistic talk about Snead, but he's not out there right now from Denard Wilson. He's not out there right now. So, yeah, it's interesting because Callahan came out, Friday, the press conference that started right as our show ended, conveniently. And there was some okay, so what? Extra practice. Why? It finally got to the question of why? Why is this? Is it because of something that hasn't been? No. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Positive. Like how they're working. Is the energy lacking? No. Energy's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
I mean, hey, I not saying he's miserable and furious behind the scenes and decides to just put on a total front. Maybe that's how he feels. I mean, I don't know. I do feel like the energy talk is it's draining my energy because it's it's such a I'm kind of with Garcia. It's execute, and then all of a sudden it'll look better. But yeah, it is no, everything's fine, all's well, and then it's snap, which is kind of like Levis last year, right? It's support Levis, support. He's amazing. This is why I took the job. Levis doing a great job. He's fine, and then. What the bleep are you doing?
Yeah.
So he had a what the bleep are you doing moment for the whole offense. Interesting. I'm very interested to, now it's okay, so now tell the fans, what does that mean? Everything fine? No, everything's fine. I just decided to yell. Or, sometimes it seems like it's just trending a little bit. Everything is hunky-dory when it's not.
Well, another situation where, and they're not going to change it at this point, but would have been nice to have the press conference yesterday after the profanity-laced tirade out there on the field. Could have got to the bottom of that instead of before practice. That would have been nice.
Yeah, it's just it's just not the most helpful way to do things, in my opinion. I mean, it's a way, I guess, to kind of avoid things. I mean, it's pretty good. If you don't want to talk about what just happened on the practice field, whatever it may be, someone got hurt, you're mad.
Yeah.
people didn't play well. Sometimes it's someone played really well, then it works for you. But it's weird to have to wait till the next time to talk about it.
Yeah, according to Jim Wyatt, Cam Ward 5 of 14 in team periods yesterday. So that's not very good. Not what you're looking for. Finally had a little bit of a skirmish yesterday, apparently, between Jarvis Brownlee and Mason Kinsey. So, I mean, you're not going to make it through an NFL training camp without something like that happening at some point. But finally got there yesterday.
It took 11-year camp superstar Mason Kinsey to finally get him riled
Show
up.
a little fire out there.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna. I think this week. We'll probably hear about more. I mean, usually when different teams start playing each other, that's a given. That's a guarantee. If that doesn't happen, then then the low T Titans is like a lowercase t may be necessary.
They do practice against the Tampa Bay Bucks this week, and we'll follow that up next week with some practices against the Falcons before their preseason game in Atlanta as well. So they're going to get a lot of good work in over the next couple of weeks here. Brian Callahan was talking about that yesterday, just in terms of, the classic coach speed of, well, it'll be nice to go up against somebody else and hit, a different team, but also like probably what I care about more, which is a pretty good litmus test of where you're at. Like Tampa Bay, I'm not going to say Tampa Bay is like some elite team or anything like that, but Tampa Bay, I think, is going to win their division again. We'll see what happens on that front. Atlanta, we'll see how good, Michael Penix is. And at the moment, Kirko's still there. So if Michael Penix isn't good, maybe turn back to him at some point. I have no idea. But you're going to get a good look if you're the Titans over the next couple of weeks here of, trying to exactly stack up. All right, your offense has struggled at this point in camp. Do they figure some things out against another team, or do they continue to really struggle against the Bucks and against the Falcons coming up? So some more information, I think meaningful information that we're going to find out over the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, okay, so are any of these struggles a sign of good news with the defense? Can the offense figure it out? I mean, based on what's happened so far and the way the trend is going, I'll be pleasantly surprised if we don't hear about Tampa Bay's defense putting a thumping on this Titans offense.
Same.
That's just kind of how, that's just kind of the – and, it's like there's individual offensive linemen. Now, I do feel like it's probably a positive trend with Dan Moore. But then you hear, and I saw this the other day with, Zeitler. I mean, Kevin Zeitler, like, there is a reason, like, the Lions, like, he is at a certain age, right?
Yep.
And they already have done a little bit of maintenance on practice. At some point you get to a certain age and you're not the same player that you used to be. And I'm wondering if we're seeing a little bit of that.
So my question for Titans fans, how concerned are you that the Titans offense to this point has not done a whole lot in training camp? Is it concerning? Do you not care at this point? You got to wait and see what they do against other teams coming up this week in the joint practices against Tampa Bay. Where do you come down on the offensive struggles that we've seen to this point? We'll continue that conversation coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
First team offense has not really scored a lot of touchdowns in the red zone so far in camp in those periods. Is that an area of concern?
Concern? No. We've been in the high red zone a bunch. Haven't worked down to the low. We got more red zone work today, so actual focused red zone work where we're starting down inside the 12. But yeah, I would like to see more movement in the red zone in the periods that we've had. But we got a lot of work to do in the red zone in general. That's probably one of the harder areas. A lot of our early focus has been on third downs, which has been great. And now we'll shift into the red zone today and get some more work. But yeah, we got work to do there for sure.
That was Brian Callahan before yesterday's practice, which apparently didn't go well for the offense and ended with them yelling at the entire offense, which I know some Titans fans are like, yeah, you yell at him, coach, nice.
Hey, I mean, I think it's probably at this point, it's not frequent, so it's a nice change, right?
Yeah, sure. I have no problem with every now and then letting loose a nice profanity-laced tirade. Sometimes it's necessary and
It can be cathartic.
It can be cathartic, and maybe it was for Brian Callahan yesterday. Maybe the offense responds next time they're out there on the field. But it has not gone well for the offense for the most part to this point in camp. So what do you make of that if you're a Titans fan? How concerning is it? Rexrode's about to give a profanity-laced tirade to his computer over here. So we might all be privy to that here in just a few minutes.
Well, it's my fault. I'm an idiot. I mean, the fact that I'm trying to keep limping along with this 1987 Commodore 64 is truly amazing.
Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Jared in Spring Hill. Jared, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy first day back to everybody out there listening.
Yes.
Going to be a lot of traffic and all that. However, to your question, should you be concerned or how concerned? I'm pretty concerned, and that quote with Callahan, it's like, is it concerning? No, it's not concerning. Then why are you upset yelling at him if you're not concerned about it? I really do just wish that this guy could come back and at least acknowledge, yes, the offense has been awful. I need to be a lot better. I just don't really feel that urgency from him. And then I'm like, it's kind of like a comedian. Whenever you get up on stage and you feel like you may have to insert a curse word to really have your point come across, and you think it's going to be funny if you insert the curse word versus if you just told the joke with good timing and good delivery and everything else. So maybe Callahan is maybe slipping a little bit, just saying. And to you all, is this concerning for you all and your perception of Callahan up to this point that, again, the results really hasn't been there on offense? Because I just think that we're going to go down to Tampa this weekend and get punked. And then what? So, anyways, hope you have a great day and tighten up. Hey, lowercase T Titans too. All right.
There we go.
Moving otherwise. Joe, that's hilarious.
Low T Titans.
Get it on a t-shirt.
Tighten
Yeah.
down. Tighten down. Like horns down.
Thank you, Jared.
Thanks, Jared.
For sure.
Have a great day, fellas.
You too, buddy.
Yeah, look, I mean, the clip that we played a minute ago specifically was about the red zone, right? So there have been some struggles in the red zone, as Callahan points out, they've worked a lot of, high red zone stuff. So we'll see, as camp goes on, what that looks like and how much it changes. But the offense as a whole, clearly at the end of practice yesterday, I don't know specifically what it was. I don't know if it was urgency or whatever you want to call it, or just if the lack of execution just eventually made him snap. But, I think we are deep enough into camp at this point, Joe, where it's like the offense needs to pick it up. It's time to get going. I think, the first few days, particularly in pads, it's like, all right, you've got a rookie quarterback. The defense is naturally ahead of the offense in a lot of cases by the time training camp rolls around. Joe, yesterday was day 5 in pads. It's the 5th practice in a row they've had in pads. It's time for the offense to get going on a little bit more of a consistent basis here.
Yeah. And again, the only thing that with what Jared was saying there, the problem is, again, we haven't had him say, no, everything's fine. I mean, I can't believe that if he talked after that practice, he would have said, no, I yelled. I yelled? What are you talking about, yell? No, we're good. Everybody's great. I doubt that would have happened. And the next time he talks, by the way, is going to be Wednesday.
Yeah.
There's nothing today. There's no availability tomorrow, 7:40 a.m., so we can have that on the program. So wait a minute. Is that cut into P? Well, that's right. So PK the heck we can do with PK?
Let's
The
figure
Titans
that
are
out.
messing up our PK stuff, our PK time.
Let's figure that out.
But that'll be the next time he talks. So I think he'll probably have cooled down by then, but
if not, this could be a very interesting week.
Yeah, right.
He's still just furious by the time Wednesday comes around.
Yeah, that would be, man, that would be something. That would be sustaining something, which
Yeah.
is great for the low T Titans. But thank you. But
we're gonna get a lot of mileage.
Yeah,
out of this, I think.
Yeah, we are. I also didn't realize. So they're only doing one practice with the Bucs. I guess I didn't realize that. I don't know that I've seen that, but
I haven't
that's
either.
the schedule is here. They're here Wednesday, Thursday. They have their practice with the Bucs, and then there's nothing Friday, and they play the game Saturday. So that's kind of interesting. So there's only one practice in which to potentially get thumped by the Bucs.
We'll see how it goes. Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line. Welcome in Roy to the program. Roy, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's up? I don't think it's too much concerning. I mean, last year we had a very nice, soft-spoken head coach, and our whole team seemed like it was just sinking. And every week he was just like, "Oh, we're going good. We're getting better. Every week we're getting better." And hey, maybe it's a page turn. Maybe we're going from babyface Callie to heel Callie. I mean, I love the energy. Keep it up. Just go crazy. Whatever gets a dub. But just be cautious because he goes too crazy on some of these divas out there. They may not play too great during game day, but tighten up, guys.
Thank you, Roy. Appreciate it. I mean, I thought we may hear from that a little bit today of maybe he was too calm last year. Didn't go crazy enough. And now, you're yelling at the end of practice yesterday, a change of pace on that front. Look, I'm pretty sure yesterday's probably not the first time Brian Callahan has yelled at people since he's become the head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, we know it.
It's not the, he's not Vrabel. Okay. So we understand it's not exactly the same style of coaching out there, but for the Titans fans who thought maybe he was too calm given the circumstances last year, maybe a little bit of a change in perception yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about Vrabel is, Vrabel, it's not like he was like screaming. He was just constantly saying, bark, 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 and usually saying funny stuff with F-bombs. But, I mean, he wouldn't hesitate to, and then he would be, obviously jerky with the media at times. Callahan, very nice with the media, very calm, low key. Yeah, I mean, I generally agree that like you do want to see this sometimes, and it sounds like it's warranted. There's just too much. Again, like I'm listening last week, and Big Joe is when he's out there is like, he's like two guys of the entire team ran out to practice. Okay, I mean, I don't know how much that means, but there is a lot of talk about energy, execution, et cetera, and it just doesn't. It seems like at some point someone should probably get mad.
No, I agree. Like I feel like not in every training camp, but in most training camps around the NFL, something like this happens at some point, right? Like the coach just loses it at some point. Like,
there's
a
playbook
obviously, like I follow the Packers training camp. LaFleur lost it last week because people were he had been warning people about taking somebody to the ground and trying not to get people hurt, and then somebody got taken to the ground. And apparently he was throwing stuff and went nuts out there. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, Matt LaFleur's yelling at me. Go, great. But I think this happens in most camps at some point once throughout the process.
Yeah. There is it's like a general script where, it's like the offense will win. Oh, the offense kicked the defense, and the defense came back the next day and they won, and the coach got mad, and a couple guys got in fights, and a few guys get hurt, and then, Then you pick up something like the waiver wire, the cuts. It is very repetitive. So, if you get through a camp with your NFL team and there's never any like controversy, yelling,
conflict,
anger, then that's probably not good, right?
Probably not. One texter says, not surprised they're struggling at all with a rookie quarterback who's mid himself, a struggling hot seat coach who'll be fired at the end of the year. Just another round and round on the carousel at this point. One texter says, Callahan, damned if he does, damned if he doesn't with his fan base. Can you imagine the freak out if he admitted the offense was looking poor so far? This is from an unnamed texter on the text line, which is an interesting point.
Maybe, but would it be? I mean, I think some people are like, just tell, everybody can sit here. I'm reading, I'm reading Jimmy Wyatt's numbers. They don't sound good. Everybody's Cam. We know Cam's throwing a pick every day. That finally streak was broken Saturday. I don't think it would be a freak out if he said, yeah, like the offense right now he's got to pick it up.
I don't think it would be a freak out. I do think there would be some people that say, well, that's why you're here, right?
Sure.
It's your baby. It's
Sure.
your offense. So get it going, coach. What we doing out there?
Well, that's fair.
Which you could say without him coming out and saying that, right? I mean,
Yes.
the offense is struggling. We can all see it right now. So in that question, I mean, kind of leads exactly what we're going to talk about coming up next, which is Brian Callahan. It's interesting to watch the fan base's reaction to him so far. And they've not even played a game yet to this point. There are some people that are just so far out on him already, even with the new quarterback coming in. I want to know, like, how many Titans fans are actually approaching Brian Callahan and his situation with an open mind this year. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-1063 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Brian Callahan, offense struggled to this point in camp. How concerned are you about that? More your thoughts to get to on that. But also, how do Titans fans feel about Callahan heading into this? Because I've seen a lot, and we've heard from a lot, that are not confident in Brian Callahan and basically think that he's just on he's a coach this year that is on borrowed time and at some point is going to be shown the door this year. I wonder how many Titans fans have an open mind on Callahan, give Callahan some grace for what we saw last year, not only with the quarterback play and how bad it was, but also the roster, and are approaching year 2 with Brian Callahan with an open mind of, all right, it wasn't good last year, but how much of that was actually his fault? And I want to see him show me something this year, have some confidence that maybe he will show you something this year in year 2 as a head coach. We'll take your thoughts on that, 615-737-1025. Joe, as you've dealt with Titans fans, as we've heard from Titans fans throughout the offseason, and now that we've gotten to this point in training camp, we've talked about the offensive struggles. How do you view Callahan in terms of the fan base and how many people you think are just done with him before the season begins, and how many people are actually approaching this with, well, here we go, I guess we'll see?
Well, I'm always bad at this because, if you want to go by Twitter, if Twitter was real life, there'd be a lot of issues. Well, there are issues, but wow, would we have issues in society? I think society would be almost over now. We'd be moving on. The aliens would be taking over the planet, and we'd be all dead soon. We'd be the cockroaches. But if you go by that, then I think there's a large segment of the fan base that's out on him. It's just hard for me to get to, and I understand fans being in general sick of all of this, right? Sick of the losing and the firings and the changing and just the wheel spinning that we've seen. It seems like we're watching, but it's hard for me to believe that a reasonable Titans fan would think they know for sure what Brian Callahan is. You may end up right. You may absolutely end up right if you believe that he's just bad. He's just not fit to be a head coach. And look at the offense. What this offensive guy? Where's the offense? And if you're not taking into account what he walked into, and then how much do you want to blame Levis? I feel like there's a little bit of a sliding scale on that too, right? Yep. So there are still some people who think Levis got screwed and he didn't get a fair shake. Well, those people probably are more likely to be out on Callahan. Whereas if you think Levis was just total buns and made everything look worse than it really is, you're probably more likely to give Callahan some grace. But it's 1 year with the worst roster in the NFL. Are there other coaches who would have done more with it than him? Absolutely. I don't think he did a good job last year. To me, I don't think that guarantees he can't do it. What percentage of the fan base feels that way? I still think I'm a minority of the fan base, would be my guess. It's allowed. Yeah. Like a lot of things. It's like a loud 15, 20%.
Here's how I
That's
view
my
it.
guess.
I'm with you. There are some people that are out on Brian Callahan, and I get it. He's 3-14 last year, and everything was bad, so I understand it. I do think the majority of Titans fans recognize how bad the quarterback play was last year, recognize the limitations of the roster, and now with a new quarterback coming in, I think there's at least an open mind that's going to be given to Brian Callahan. Now, I would say this as well. If things go poorly this year, particularly to start, I've said it many times, and I'm going to keep repeating it because I think it's worth keeping in mind as the season goes on. The first person that people are going to blame this year, if things start to go poorly, is Brian Callahan. It's not going to be Cam Ward, regardless of how bad Cam Ward may or may not be to start. It's not going to be Cam Ward. So Brian Callahan is going to be the first one that gets the blame from the fan base this year. That's where he's at as a coach here. So I think a lot of Titans fans have an open mind. I think that mind will close very quickly if the results are as bad as they could be early in the year. We'll see what happens on that point. We got a lot of different thoughts on this. Somebody says, how long should we as fans accept the excuse of, well, we got to be better at some points it would be nice to hear that we're actually getting better, especially from the guy that we hired to improve the offense. There's lots of different thoughts on this that we'll get to, but there's a couple that I think that one kind of sums up nicely.
Yeah. Well, Kyle in Shelbyville on the YouTube chat says, I'm supporting Callie because I feel sorry for him. It's a lose-lose situation. That's nice. I just feel bad for the guy. So it says it's a lose-lose situation for him because no matter what he does, we're going to get killed this season. But see, and then I'll argue, well, he can help dictate things getting better, right? I mean, he can have a hand in things getting better. Again, there are limitations. No one expects this team to get the playoffs. No one expects this team to win more games than it loses. But from a coaching perspective, separate from Cam Ward, because obviously it's all about that. Cam Ward looks good. They win 4 games. Okay. Did Cam Ward look good? Okay. Does he not get credit for that if he does? I would give him credit. But, yeah, you just don't want to have the ridiculous mistakes, all the stuff that happened last year. I mean, there were a lot of things last year that were bad about this team, and they weren't all just lacking talent. They were also like the special team stuff in particular, which has been addressed. But there were other things too. It didn't look like a well-coached football team.
One texter says, coaches should make players better. Callahan has done nothing to improve his players. He's panicking. He's not a leader. Brian says, it's August 4th, and I'm already over this team, and that includes Callahan. I know it's been a horrible roster, but I can't think of one thing Callahan has really done to improve it. He just seems overwhelmed, which that's kind of like the chicken or egg conversation. It's like, well, is there anything he can realistically do to improve it? Is the roster that bad? I think the quarterback play is going to be a lot of it because let's get honestly, like we could talk about the offense as a whole, but it's quarterback. That's why he was hired to come in here, right? And it was originally for Levis, and we know that they've pivoted on that. If Ward, that's why I say, like, if Ward struggles early, it doesn't matter if it's his fault or not. It's going to be blamed on Brian Callahan. All right. It's
no
year
question.
2. It's like at some point you've got to demonstrate as a head coach that you can show some progress here with a quarterback. That's what you were hired to do.
Yeah. The number 2 quarterback that they took was pretty good. It was years. It was years of anybody but Marcus at fault for some people, not for everybody, not for you.
Nope.
You blamed him for you blamed him for like throwing a pick like in camp and decided he sucked. But seriously, the market, and it was like Malarkey, the OC, Burbisky, all right. What can Vrabel? What can you guys do? It's all about Marcus. Cam Ward is going to get years. There are going to be years of it's not his fault, even if it is. It's not going to be like Levis because it can't be. Not when you take a guy at number 1 overall and you decide against trading down and trying to build up your draft capital and really go into a rebuild. You went with the QB. He's going to have years. So absolutely. Anything this year that's bad from him, a lot of people are just going to blame Brian Callahan. And look, I think there's enough talent there for Cam Ward that you would hope that Brian Callahan would be able to unlock some of that potential and put him in position to succeed.
Yeah, that's why I really want to see what the offensive line looks like, because if it's improved to the point that we think it could be, which again is not some top 10 offensive line, but if it's adequate out there, then you should see that translate with this offense. Like, you should see if the quarterback has got time to actually make decisions and throw the football, albeit a rookie. You should see that translate. Like, if Brian Callahan's got a solid foothold on, situational play calling, if he's dialed in with that, if he's got, confidence in terms of, making the right call at the right moment, decisions with the football from Cam Ward, all those things that kind of factor into moving the ball down the field, which is what we talked about last week. Is the offense moving the ball with any level of consistency this year? Like, if the offensive line is improved, you should see some of that. If you don't, then you're starting to look at the coach and you're like, oh, what's going on here, man? Like, why can we not get anything figured out offensively? And again, they haven't played a game yet, so we're going to wait and see what that looks like. I just know that if you're a Titans fan that has watched the offense the last few years, and now here we are again, albeit early into training camp, and you're reading about continuous offensive struggles, you're like wanting to beat your head against the wall right now. You're like, can we please get the offense figured out?
Yeah, for sure. But and it's also like if you told me before camp that we'd be at this point, I'd be like, okay, a rookie quarterback early in camp with usually defense ahead of offense. Yeah, I mean that's more. Was that not the most likely outcome at this point?
I would say yes. Now, I would have liked to have probably seen the offense sustain a little bit more than it has to this point. Like it just kind of, Saturday, it felt like maybe that was, you're reading about, well, the offense had a pretty good day and Cam Ward didn't throw a pick. And it's like, okay, cool. Maybe this is a point where, drawing a line in the sand and you're starting to turn things around and build a little bit more consistency, a little bit more confidence. And then to immediately come out the next day and just to apparently do absolutely nothing to the point where your coach is eviscerating you coming off the field. Not great.
No, not great. So now you have time to think about it, and I guess in a way, like game week ish, a little bit. I guess like to prepare for like another team, and like I kind of to not go get embarrassed.
Yeah, it would be good. Like it would be nice to walk away from that practice this week and be like, the Titans offense held their own out there a little bit. Maybe they didn't light up Tampa Bay or anything, but they didn't just get totally dominated out there. That would be great. Because that's what I'm afraid of right now.
Titans held their own in joint practice with Bucks. That sounds like maybe a banner someone would hang. Maybe Butch Jones would make a trophy out of that thing, man.
Maybe so.
Sounds exciting.
Butch still coach?
Yeah,
He's
man.
still out there. Did he get fired
he's
last
doing
year?
pretty well at Arkansas State. You didn't know?
I hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to Butch out there.
Maybe this year, maybe there'll be a group of 5.
Well, we'll see.
Story this year.
I hope so. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of your thoughts to get to on the Brian Callahan front. We will do that coming up next. We'll get into the Micah Parsons situation in the 7 o'clock hour. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. You can help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615, sponsored by Macero in 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality. We're taking your thoughts on Brian Callahan. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Joey from Bellevue says, in-game adjustments too, Robbie. Last year, they were terrible at making adjustments. And we've talked about that from the standpoint of first half to second half, Joe, and how it would be nice at some point for the Titans offense in the second half to put some points on the board and to be productive. The strange part is that has now spanned multiple coaching staffs, multiple general managers, multiple offensive coordinators, multiple quarterbacks. So it's not just been a one-person specific problem that the Titans have had with that over the last few years. That would also be, I mean, I would imagine throughout the first few weeks of the season, Joe, that's going to be one thing that we're talking about one way or the other of, man, that offense still sucks in the second half, right? Or, hey, look, they seem to have figured some things out in the second half of football games.
Yeah, it's kind of cruel and unusual punishment for a fan base, really, right? It's like what did Titans fans do to deserve all of a sudden just not just losing, but unwatchable football? Unwatchable football with constant revolving door of people in charge of the football. So, again, go to the owner, but it's like, how is this something that's persisting? Obviously, some of it is if you're just really bad, it's not like they were lighting up the first halves, right? I mean, they're overall bad. But, yes, still a pretty big contrast between first half and second half. And I think that gets, again, you get me into the adjustments. Like at halftime in the NFL, like you have time to, like, pee, okay? And, okay, guys, here's a couple words, and let's get back out there.
Let's go
Pee.
pee.
Right. There we go. Yeah, better things like, okay, guys, lock in. Here we go. The screen's up there. This is what we're gonna do. The adjustments are constant during a game. But if you're failing more in the second half, then that does tell me that the other team is coming up with more answers than you are.
For
so
sure.
There you go.
Whether it's at halftime or not, right? Throughout the course of the game, they're coming up with more answers than you are. So you got to get that part of it figured out at some point here for sure. I mean, look, there's a lot of, we've gotten a lot of different thoughts on the text line on Callahan. There is a lot of, and this guy has shown absolutely nothing at this point and doesn't sound like some of these fans on here have much of an open mind on Brian Callahan. Like their big question is, what week will he be fired this year? Will it be week 7? Will it be week 14? Like when exactly will he be fired this year? And look, I mean, I guess I get it. I mean, he's 3-14 head coach and things have gone very poorly to this point. I'm with you though. Like, I guess my point would be, how do you know? Like how, after 1 year with the quarterback play being what it was, with the roster being what it is, and albeit, I don't know how much better the roster is right now than it was last year. We'll see. How do you know that Brian Callahan doesn't have answers at this point? We're going to find out.
You don't know. You simply don't know. If you claim to know, then I'm sorry. There are way too many factors that are excuses that can be used as excuses, but sometimes like there are excuses actually exist sometimes, and that's what it is. And, maybe it's funny because a year ago, think about the conversation. It was like, oh, how refreshing. Like just a guy who doesn't have to be a jerk all the time. And he tells us about the injuries and stuff. And he listened to him talk about football. This guy clearly is one of the sharp minds in the NFL. And then it's funny too, because you think about that first game. I was like, man, they look pretty good. Like they're kind of kicking the Bears' butt. Like they're going to go win. Like the Bears are supposed to be a playoff team this year and all this stuff, and then we saw what happened again. Like, so your QB directly early sabotage everything. Like there's no question about that, right? Like
that's special teams, but
yeah, right, yeah, for sure, yeah. And then you get the game where, and this is where then you get into, you can't blame Levis for that Malik Willis comes in here with the Packers and all of a sudden they just can't tackle anybody. A lot of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, and maybe I am still. I mean, sometimes you can tell. I mean, even like Nathaniel Hackett, Charles brought up that example for us, right?
Yeah.
And obviously flipping out about I flipped out. That was a great rant. Thank you.
It was.
Thank you. By the way, good job.
Let me just tell you, that
Yeah.
rant was one of my top five.
Most of them
Good
suck,
stuff.
but that one actually was like actually worth a rant. It was like, dude, fire him right now. But you can even tell with him, to me, publicly, is it like he was a deer in the headlights. I don't get that from Callahan. I think like Callahan again when he talks the game, okay, it sounds good. It makes sense. Like how he knows what he's doing, right? But I mean, the product ultimately speaks for it, and so it's just got to be a lot better in a few different ways this year, I think. But right now at this moment, you don't know.
Yeah, one texter says, how did Amy know Ken Wisenhunt didn't have answers when he was halfway through his second season with a rookie QB? I mean, at some point, this applies for Callahan right now. Like, Callahan's not going to get the benefit of the doubt this year, right? Like, you've got to at some point show that you do have some of those answers. And if we get, halfway through this next season, 3/4 of the way through this next season, and that hasn't happened, and he hasn't shown that, well, he's probably going to get fired, right? And we can get back into does it make sense to fire the coach with the rookie quarterback in discussion if you want to? But I mean,
if he's bad,
like, and he doesn't show any aptitude whatsoever to have solutions. I mean, at some point you're running out of time to show it, right? Like I'm just saying, after year one, there are a lot of extenuating circumstances that leave me to have an open mind heading into this year. But my open mind's not going to last very long. Like if they get a month and a half into the season and they are just so outmatched, and he is getting, he's just getting out coached, and it's clear that he doesn't know what he's doing. Well, at some point, you just got to call a spade, and you move on from that.
Yeah.
And we may get to that point this year. I don't know.
Texter asks, has there ever been a coach fired during training camp? That's a good question. I can't think of one, but
I don't think so.
Amy's watching closely this week.
She was out there the other day.
That Tampa Bay practice better be pretty freaking good on Thursday. Dustin says, how's a rookie QB put together 2 drives the first quarter? They're explosive, productive, and then after that, they do nothing. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. You can look at they did have some good scripted drive success last year at times. So I guess it's like, okay, good scripting.
Yeah.
Good diagnosing of the opponent and coming up with, but then yes, during the game. Now the opponent does this. What do you do in response? And again, sometimes it's like, well, I'll tell you what I did in response. Look at this play that we drew up. And then look, the right tackle and the left tackle got destroyed, and we couldn't run 80% of the plays that we should have run that.
Well,
I mean,
and maybe that's part of it.
It's complicated.
Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our buddy Mark in Nashville. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, how you doing, Robby? What's going on, Joe?
What's up?
What's up, Mark?
I'm gonna start calling you Joe Osteen, Joe. I mean, Joe, what church are you preaching at, man? Because I need to come to service next Sunday and hear you speak, man. I mean,
Reverend
Rexrode.
Rexrode.
Joe. Yeah, Reverend Rexrode.
Rev Rex.
But hey,
Nice.
Rev Rex. Yeah, you're right. That's a good one, Joe. I think the fans are a little too hard on Callahan right now. I'm trying to really give him a chance. I'm not a Titans fan, but hey, I'm trying to give him a chance. He's in a lame duck situation, Joe. I don't know if you and Robby agree with me, but he's really in a lame duck situation. How many games does he have to win to keep his job? And even if he wins said games this year and he come in next year and he's back struggling again, what happens then? I mean, he's just in a bad situation and stuff. I hate that for Callahan and really for Cam, too, because if he did get fired this year, then Cam's going to have to go through another new offense, another new coach. That's not good for a guy coming into his second year. I think Cam will struggle a little bit, but I think eventually Cam will be good. I'm not going to say great yet, but he will be good. And it's dependent on what Callahan does with him. But, I mean, if the defense stays on the field like they did last year, they're going to struggle. The offense is going to have to go out there and put up numbers. But, Robby and Joe, I want to ask you this before I go. Right or wrong, yes or no? Is Callahan in a lame duck situation right now? I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. I mean, you could definitely make that argument. I would say, no, because I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's fired. So I'd put it that way. Like, when I think lame duck, I think, well, this guy is just going to have to pull off a miracle to save his job. I don't know that I believe that. Like, I do think, hopefully, with the approach that the Titans are taking, if they show some meaningful progress this year, and particularly if the quarterback shows some meaningful progress throughout the season, then I don't think that he's like in a, well, you better win 10 games or you're going to get fired type scenario. So I would say no, but I understand the thought of right now the odds are stacked against him that this time 3 years from now, Brian Callahan is going to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. It just is.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't think he's officially lame duck by any means. Again, if there really is some like Borgonzi's got his guy and they're just waiting for that, I think that is just an awful, awful way to run a football team.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will get back into the offense, Brian Callahan discussion a little bit later in the program. Some big news over the weekend in the NFL about a player that may or may not be available. And if he is, should the Titans try to pursue him? We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. We'll get into some of the conversation we've had already on the show with him as it relates to Brian Callahan and the offense. We'll get into all things Titans with him as they prepare to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers later this week, both in the joint practices and in the first preseason game coming up on Saturday. So we'll get Corey's thoughts on all that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Joe, some big news over the weekend in the National Football League. Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys have been unable to come to an agreement for a contract extension down there in Dallas. It's been very public. It's been at times very contentious. And finally, Micah Parsons releases a long statement over the weekend, basically talking about how much he wanted to be in Dallas and now that he no longer wants to be in Dallas and has officially put a trade request out there. Now, as Jerry Jones is want to do, he has commented on it since then. He talks a lot. He's in front of the camera a lot, which is kind of like, we talk about Amy Adams Strunk never talking. Maybe Jerry Jones takes it too far to the extreme the other way.
Yeah.
But Jerry Jones talking says, quote, "I'd say to our fans, don't lose any sleep over this." He sounds like he thinks that this is just part of the negotiation. Doesn't sound like he's got much interest in actually trading Micah Parsons at this point. But they've not been able to come to an agreement, Joe. It has deteriorated to the point where Micah Parsons has taken it public and that he does not. He put it out there. He does not want to be back in Dallas. There's been some hurt feelings, and it's two different sides of the story that have come out in terms of what exactly has been promised, what exactly has been agreed to, and the process in which they've gotten about getting to this point. So when you start airing out all that in the media, not really a great thing. So number one, what do you make of the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas? And number two, now that he has officially asked for a trade, obviously, there are going to be a lot of teams around the league checking in on that. Should the Titans be one of those teams based on what you would think the compensation would be to go get a player like that?
Everybody should be one of those teams.
I totally agree.
Everybody should be one of those teams. So absolutely. If you're a team that's like, yeah, we're good. This is not some of the other stuff we've been talking about. Terry McLaurin about to turn 30. No, this is a guy in his prime who is a game-changing player. I mean, there's no question about it. So, of course, be one of the other 31 teams who's at least inquiring about it. I can't believe that anybody wouldn't. Also, I still think that they're going to work this out. Like, I don't think he's going to be traded. I think that they're going – because for all of the bluster – and all the dumb way that they handle these things. I mean, we've had drama with CeeDee Lamb. There was drama, with go back to Des Bryant. Like, these things happen. The Cowboys seem to love it. Jerry seems to love it somehow. It's like, I guess all publicity is good publicity. I mean, the Micah Parsons, by the way, but congratulations or sorry that it happened to you. I ain't reading.
That's a long one.
My
long
God.
statement.
But it's all this weird stuff with what. We were fine, and now they won't even talk to the agent, and I don't know. I mean, I've heard Stephen Jones on some Dallas radio, and it's like I'd actually rather listen to Jerry. At least I understand what he's saying. I don't know what the heck Stephen Jones is talking about with some of his stuff. I mean, it's amazing that they actually function as a franchise. They're really good at finding like great players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they. I know Dak's not great, but like they find great players and then go through hell with them. Like Micah Parsons should be the most slam dunk, obvious, easy, get it done early thing that you ever need to have in the NFL. And here we are.
Well, one thing we've talked about with the Cowboys is it feels like they always wait too long to start these negotiations, right? Like
early is good for the team.
If you could have gotten in there earlier with Dak, he wouldn't be costing you $60 million a year, but instead you waited and now he is. Same thing with Parsons. Like you could have gotten in there earlier and then you didn't. I in my heart of hearts, I think I'm with you. I think that they'll eventually probably get this figured out. But look, I do think there are some situations in sports where sometimes you go too far when you're negotiating with somebody and you just totally destroy the relationship.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to come back to the table with you. Like Micah Parsons has to know that he's going to get a deal somewhere, whether it's in Dallas or somewhere else. Somebody's going to give him what he's looking for, at least close to it. So, like, I'm with you. I think if I had to sit here today and choose an outcome of what I thought was most likely, it would probably be that they eventually come to a deal down there in Dallas. But you never know, man. Like, sometimes you reach a point in these negotiations where the player's like, you know what, screw you. I don't want to come back to the negotiating table, and I'm out of here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And, look, I mean, to be fair on this with the Cowboys, some of the reporting around it is that they thought they had it figured out in May. And then he's like, but at the same time, if you're the Cowboys, like, you have to understand. Okay, so you think you haven't figured out with the player. And the player's like, yeah, but just talk to my agent. That's how Parsons described it. Okay, you just talk to my agent and we'll nail it down. You know, it's like, here, let's have this notarized, and then it becomes this big thing. So you go back to the A.J. Brown thing here. My understanding, is that at one point the Titans thought they had it figured out. And then it's like, oh, wait, actually, no, which is very annoying. But the thing is, in this league, that if you have great players, you need to get things done. So, again, I think the Cowboys will, unless you're right and Parsons really is like, I understand he's requesting a trade. This happens a lot. And then the player goes back to the team. If he's actually the point where, like, I actually can't do this, I can't be here with these people anymore. Well, okay, then the compensation for him, boy, will that be interesting.
Well, and you bring that up. So there's, The Athletic has put this piece together about, which teams, if Parsons ends up actually being available via trade, would make the most sense. And we'll get a little bit more into that coming up here in just a few minutes. But the compensation would be interesting here. Like, I'll throw out one of the examples they have. Like, they put the Packers in here, and it would be a first-round pick in 2026, a first-round pick in 2027, and Romeo Dobbs. So you're talking about 2 first-round picks and a starting good, not great, but starting good wide receiver is the compensation that they put there. So if you're the Titans, like, are you comfortable giving up 2 first-round picks and then whatever the additional, like, player price would be, whether
2 first-round picks and Jeff Simmons?
And Jeff Simmons. Like, would you do that? If now, look, you're also getting a 26-year-old elite edge rushing player that you can try to go draft if you want to, but Micah Parsons don't grow on trees. Like, I saw a stat,
number one overall in any year, basically.
Like, I saw a stat where
Just
I think it's him and Reggie White are the 2 players in NFL history that have had at least 12 sacks in all 4 of their first years, right? So, like, pretty good company to be in there. So Micah Parsons is like, that's the type of guy that I ain't really got much of a problem giving up a couple first-round picks for, right? Like, think about the Khalil Mack trade a few years ago. It's a hefty price that was paid to go get him. He's a guy that was worth it.
Yeah, what was that price? You remember exactly what that was?
I mean,
it was a lot.
3 first-round picks, wasn't it?
3 first. Yeah, I think multiple firsts is definitely a possibility, and you could also get into, like, multiple firsts, a second,
There's 2
fourth.
first-round picks, a third, and a sixth.
I was going to say,
and a second. So, like, all that together probably equivalent to 3, but actually 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick in 2018, a 6th-round pick, and also a second-round pick
in 2019.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so 2 firsts, 2 firsts, second, third. I mean, yeah, it could be something like that, like just a haul of picks. And yeah, I can see someone saying, my gosh, if there was ever a team that needed picks, it'd be the Tennessee Titans. But again, like, this is, I mean, getting a player like this, a player of this level, and you don't need to worry about what your window is or that you're rebuilding. Like, this is a guy who should be great for the next few years. There's no indication, he's been durable. I mean, all that stuff. Like, he's worth it. He's going to get, if they were to trade him, he would get that. He would get a huge, huge haul.
Yeah, for sure. So again, we'll see. It's, maybe a situation where it's very public right now, and then by the time week 1 rolls around, they've come to some sort of agreement here. But as you pointed out, a lengthy, very lengthy statement that Micah Parsons put out over the weekend, and obviously some hurt feelings here. So we'll see what happens on that front. We'll take your thoughts on that. Should the Titans pursue Micah Parsons if he's available? What teams would make the most sense from the Micah Parsons standpoint to sign a long-term extension with? We'll get your thoughts on all that. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. I got some tickets to give away, a pair of tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at First Bank Amphitheater coming up this Sunday. You can find Rexrode in the front row. Caller number 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. You'll see Live and Collective Soul at First Bank Amphitheater coming up this Sunday.
Oh, they're playing with each other?
That's what it says. So you will be there.
Cool. We'll see.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. I mean,
Probably
I feel like
not.
Rexrode has been to enough concerts where you just offer him tickets, he'll go. No matter who it is.
Typically, that's about right.
It's right before football season anyway. So got to get him in while you can.
All right. Even during football season, it's good enough.
He's like, doesn't stop me. I'll go. Whatever. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Michael in Madison says, I would Mike Ditka my next draft for Micah Parsons. Don't care.
Easy.
Lenny says, absolutely do not take Parsons. One great player will not make our team good. We need a lot of players. If they take Parsons and trade all those picks, we're going to suck for a long, long time. This from Lenny on the text line.
Again,
Pass rush be a lot better.
Like I'm not, I'm not saying give all the picks. So if you give all the picks, I would agree with you. A couple first rounders and then a couple more, or maybe a particular player that they like. Again, what veterans do the Titans have to offer that people like would be interested in? I mean, what youngish players, like maybe someone would be like, yeah, actually, we like Devondre Sweat.
Yeah.
Bring him back to Texas. He's got high upside. Or, I mean, there's just, again, it's
not very
it's slim pickings on that. But I don't know, man. If you make good choices, like if this last draft class turns out to be good, is Oladejo turned out to be a good player, et cetera, et cetera. I am Manor. I think there's some, even with the offensive struggle, there's some optimism there. Then and you keep use your other picks well.
Yeah,
you have a great player. Great player. This is a guy who wrecks games. I mean, one guy on a defense who can wreck a game. That is hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, he's. The Titans are in need of a lot of players. We all understand that. They've got a lot of positions of need right now that they've got to fill. You know what they're also in big time need of? Great players. As many of them as possible, for sure. But get me some really, really good ones. I'll take that, right? Like if Cam Ward ends up being a great player, that makes up for a lot. Micah Parsons on that side of the ball would make up for a lot. Like he's a great player.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't mean that, you're going to turn into 85 Bears on defense if you get him. But he's a guy that you can't really game plan for. Like he just wrecks it. And that's what he's done his entire career to this point.
Like Harold Landry was a good player, and they got Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree was never, anything close to this. He had a great season in Pittsburgh when they got him. I mean, you're going back to obviously the Vanden Bosch was, he was a force, right? Yep. And that defense with Haynes, but still, like this guy is.
They've never had a guy like this.
Yeah, this guy's, and you could go back to the Freak and what he was. He was great, no question. But this is still another level above that.
Again,
and it just changes the math.
But to your point, everybody's going to be interested. Like if it gets to the point where he actually is going to be dealt, everybody's going to be interested. So the competition is going to be high. What you're willing and able to offer. What's that going to look like? There's a lot. I mean, The Athletic has come out with a piece, listing 3 places that make a lot of sense to try this. I mentioned one of them being Green Bay. The other 2 they've got on this list is Chicago and the New York Jets. I mean, I feel like the Jets are involved in all these discussions all the time. It's like, where would be a good landing spot for that? Well, the Jets. Put the Jets in there. But the Bears, the Packers, and the Jets are the 3 that kind of jump out on this piece right here of potential interest and a good landing spot for Micah Parsons. But you're going to see just about every team, I would imagine, making a call on Micah Parsons if it gets to the point where they're actually serious about shopping him around.
Yeah, if you're a GM in this league, you got a lot of stuff going on right now. You grinded some film, looking at some guys around the league and all that stuff, making your calls. I mean, it would be fireable to me if like one of the things you aren't doing like today is checking this out, And it seems like at least what we're hearing is the Cowboys right now are telling people, yeah, we're not trading them. It's not going to happen. But you need to make a call on your end and say, just in case you were, how does this strike you? Right.
Donovan and Franklin says, if this team is good, then it's a no-brainer to get Parsons, but this team is too awful to trade multiple first-rounders.
He makes your team good.
Yeah, he helps. I mean, it would be one thing if he was 30, right, or 31. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy that has been incredibly productive to this point in his career. He's 26 years old. He just turned 26 a month and a half ago. I mean, theoretically, barring something that we cannot sit here and foresee today, he's got a lot of high-level football left in him.
Yeah, you can safely expect, I think, 5 years of tremendous production. And in the NFL, that's a cycle. Like, you should absolutely be able to, if you're doing your job well, you can go from the absolute worst team to the absolute best team in that amount of time, and then less.
Well, again, you're talking about a guy that last year finished with his lowest sack total number of his career, which was 12. He did it in 13 games. He had 12 sacks in 13 games last year. For the most part, he has been healthy and has certainly been very productive out there. And if you watch him play, Joe, like, it goes, yes, the sack total is impressive, but it goes beyond the sack total with him.
You have to, the offense has to completely devote half of its resources to dealing with him. I mean, I understand the idea of multiple first rounders. This team needs, so go back through the history of the franchise. We've been doing that lately. Go back, go find me 2 first-round picks that the Titans have made that add up to what he is. You could go back to like Eddie and Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and I understand, okay, you could go throughout the entire league and find that, but you're not going to hit at that level. No one does consistently. So, like, 2 first-round picks, yeah, he is worth that and more.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the draft compensation. I really don't. Like, I understand this team is in a spot where, and Chad Brinker and Borgonzi have talked about this, of draft, develop, retain, and they want, $1 billion top 100 picks over the next few years. I get it. But I would imagine, without having spoken to either one of those guys, that they'd be okay giving up a couple first-round picks for Micah Parsons.
Right.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, it's one of those very rare situations. Guys like that don't get away from their first team. They just don't. And again, I don't think he will. But if he actually like irreconcilable differences, then it's just a rare opportunity. Texas says, you make that trade, you're crippling your chance to build around your QB. If we had a young stud wide receiver, sure. Well, again, I'm not saying trade every pick. If you trade 2 firsts and maybe 1 second and 27 or whatever, okay, then you still have a second-round pick this year and a third-round pick. You're still going to be drafting players, and you can absolutely get the Titans' best drafted wide receivers were in the 2nd and 5th. What would D-May? 4th or 5th?
4th, yeah.
Okay, 4th rounder D-May, second A.J. Brown, second rounder. You can get guys.
One texter says, as a Cowboys fan, if Jerry fumbles this, I might actually implode.
Don't do that.
Don't
do that. That sounds painful. We don't want that.
Jerry seems to think it's not a big deal. He seems to, he got up in front of the media and was just like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys today if I didn't think we were going to get something figured out, Micah.
Yeah. The thing is, it's so, he grates on everybody. It's so, at this point, it's so beyond fatigue with Jerry Jones and all their stuff. But I also think he's right. Like, I think he's doing that because they're going to work it out. You can't not work it out with him. You're the Dallas Cowboys. Is as little as I believe they could make a run this year. And I guess that's, if you want to make an argument against Micah Parsons, it's like, well, he is this great player. And yet, does anybody think Dallas can go to the Super Bowl? They have other great players too. Why not? So, that's a fair thing to bring up. I just would, a player like that, it can do a lot. If you took him off them, I think that we'd be talking about probably like a rebuilding disaster type situation. Like, that's how much of a difference he makes.
Well, and I think Jerry likes some of this. We mentioned their negotiating tactics and how they just seem to wait forever with some of their guys that they signed to deals. Like, I think he likes some of the attention that this stuff does.
Sure.
And gets for him.
Of course he does.
Which, if you're a fan, I guess it keeps you talking about him all the time, but would drive me nuts if I was a Cowboys fan. It's like, just get the deal done, buddy. just get it done with our great players.
Taylor says, I don't want him. 4 of the top 5 edge players played for non-playoff teams. They rarely play for Super Bowl teams anymore. Yeah, that feels like a real incidental set type thing. I don't think there's any causation there, Taylor. Like, for example, Myles Garrett in the bleep show of Cleveland. I don't even know off the top of my head who all he'd be talking about. I think we can go back and we can find some pass rush that's pretty important for some teams that want it all. I think of whether it's like again, the Rams. Okay, it wasn't an edge player, but like, did Aaron Donald, who was an ultimate game record, how much did that matter?
Yeah.
How much of the Tampa Bay Bucks and what they did with their front and their pass rush and their dominance up there, how much did that matter?
Yeah, according to you, they'd like carried an old limp dead Tom Brady to a Super Bowl.
No, I didn't say that, but I mean, some people are like, "Oh my God, he completed every pass. Good thing they had him. The rest of their team sucks." No. The Kansas City Chiefs couldn't block them if they had 9 linemen that night. I don't think, Taylor. I think this is a coincidental stat that means nothing.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. Is there concern mounting for another veteran player in the NFL? Plus, another somewhat local team that I can tell you there's some concern mounting. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will have the Rob Rant coming up at 7:45. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. Joe, is there concern in your mind mounting for Matthew Stafford, who at this point has not been available in training camp? He's had limited availability throughout the offseason. He's dealing with a back injury, and according to reports, it kind of felt like he was expected to be back relatively early in camp, and now he's not. And I believe Sean McVay said week to week yesterday. So in what was once thought to be something that maybe he gets back from pretty early, looks like it's now turned into week to week. The Rams have joint practice, I believe, tomorrow with the Cowboys, and then they've got joint practices with the Chargers.
He's sitting
next
out, I
week,
believe.
and he is not going to be in either one of those. So that's not good. You know, we talked about Stafford and the injuries that he's had. Some have come to the shoulder. This is a back that you're talking about here, and apparently he's going to see some back specialists. You're talking about a guy that, number one, when he's been healthy in Los Angeles, has been really good, but he's 37 years old. A team that I think, if he is healthy, has a chance to be pretty darn good this year. Like, they were right there with Philadelphia in the playoffs last year, and now they've, Cooper Kupp's out, but they brought in Devontae Adams. They've got a pretty good defense. Sean McVay's a great coach. So a team that's going to be on the short list of Super Bowl contenders in the NFC if he's healthy. The question is he going to be healthy? What do you make of the Matthew Stafford situation?
Yeah, it's not great. 37, that number has kind of changed in the way we think about it with the longevity of some of these guys. Certainly Brady, foremost among them. Aaron Rodgers, looking good apparently out there with the Steelers. And, obviously still has a lot of talent. 37 years old, and he's taken a lot of beatings. I mean, look, some of those years in Detroit early in his career, boy, did he get hit a lot. And got through it, by the way, and was a great player because that's what he is. But that's not great, because I'm with you. I think that they are a sneaky contender in the NFC with a full go Stafford for a full season. But a back at that age, and a back where, like they're calling it back soreness. But if you're going to see these people and you're week to week and all this, and I mean, this is not the plan. If this was something that they could have done earlier, they would have figured it out. Obviously something here has happened, and if you're a Rams fan, you got to be worried about that. 37 years old with a back, playing thank you, playing this sport has a lot of things that you don't like that are all together.
Well, and he's been dealing with some injuries the last few years, right? Like, obviously when he was healthy and they put it all together and went and won the Super Bowl out there, that has totally changed. Probably, I mean, maybe he would have been a Hall of Famer without it, with all the numbers that he's compiled. But I mean, I think Stafford is going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, I think he's getting in the Hall of Fame when his career is over. But you're talking about even, a guy last year that played 16 games, some of which he played through injury, but with 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 picks. But over the last few years, he missed a couple games in 2023. He only played 9 games in 2022. So the injuries have started to kind of creep up on him the last few years here. And is that going to get better as he gets older? Yeah,
once again, talk about a team. You look at where they were, where they were trending, and then Aaron Donald's out, and then you do what they did in the draft on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball too, by the way. Yeah. They've just been incredible at drafting players. And so boom, they're right back in the mix of, you get some difference making players, which I guess someone might be, see, that's why you keep your picks. I hear you. But if there's a great player on the other side, great player. I mean, I got Roberts trying to argue that Javon Curse is a better player than Micah Parsons. I know that everybody loves Javon Curse. He was incredible as a rookie. He was a very good player here. He's a great player that year. Javon Curse is not Micah Parsons, guys. No. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Someone asked about Stetson Bennett's season. Mm-hmm. I think it would actually be Jimmy G.
G and Stetson Bennett are the next two guys out there. So.
Do you know the fourth guy?
I don't. Who is the fourth guy?
I'll give you $1 million.
Will you?
Yeah. I will find a way to get $1 million.
I mean, I have no idea. Case Keenum. I'm just taking a guess.
Dresser win.
Yeah, you could have offered me every name in the world, and I wouldn't have gotten to that.
Dresser win with 2 N's.
Who's that?
I don't know. It's a cool name, though. Dresser win.
That can't be a real person. I mean, not only can it look, I want you to do this right now. This is a nice exercise. I want you to just Google Dresser win right now. Because
Okay.
you know what?
What,
I
is it
just
like
did
porn
it.
come up?
No, I just did it. And it flashes up an ESPN link to it. And the face on it is Jimmy G. It's not even Dresser win. It's just Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, by the way, according to Wikipedia, he's from Dresden, Tennessee.
There you go. UT Martin.
Dresser win. UT Martin.
There you go. Good to know.
UT
Someone
Martin
around here
fans
knows
out
who he
here. My
is.
goodness.
Dresser.
We
You think
are-
he's got a shot to win the job?
We're a sports show in the state of Tennessee. We didn't know about
Had
UT
no
Martin's
idea.
own Dresser win from Dresden, Tennessee.
Do we think he's got a chance to win the job over Jimmy G and Stetson Bennett if Stafford can't go?
Not without knowing much about Dresser win. I mean, maybe.
Maybe so.
He's
See.
he's done a little Memphis Showboats work here. He's done a little Edmonton Elks work here. So
Good to know.
yeah, a little UFL, a
you
little
look,
CFL.
I will. You won't find anybody pulling for Dresser win harder than I will now.
This
to win
show
that
is now
competition.
now officially a Dresser win supporting show.
Absolutely, no doubt.
100%.
Tennessee in fall camp. Well, what we
Hold
got?
on. Keith just says his cousin is Chester Drawers. Well done,
Very
Keith.
nice. Very nicely done. Tennessee in fall camp and already running into some receiver issues, Joe. Adam Sparks putting this out there yesterday. Mike Matthews was at practice yesterday, but he was not going through the drills. Chris Brazzell is limited in fall camp due to injury, which means they had 5 healthy scholarship wide receivers out there yesterday, Joe. And as Sparks points out, 4 of those 5 have never played a snap in college football. So what do you make of the current state of the Tennessee football wide receiver room? And now they've already apparently run into some injury trouble in camp.
That's pretty bad. You're trying to find a quarterback. While find a quarterback, you're trying to build chemistry with certainly your top 2 / maybe all the quarterbacks with the key receivers. We know they don't have many key receivers. We know they don't have many viable options. And now 2 of the most important viable options, and the most important, are missing time. So it doesn't sound like it's anything big time to worry about, but these practice days are critical for that offense. Like Syracuse, Syracuse is, Tennessee, I think, should handle Syracuse, but Syracuse is good enough that, like, if you're a bleep show, you could lose to Syracuse.
No doubt.
That's a losable game if you're a total mess. By the way, speaking of the Vols and receivers, have you seen who one of the camp superstars so far in the NFL is?
No.
Dante Thornton is just absolutely
that doesn't surprise
the biggest Raiders.
Yeah,
They think he's going to be like Rookie of the Year.
Let me know when he
It's
can get
crazy.
through about 3 games without his hamstring falling off.
I totally agree. But it's like I keep watching these plays. I'm like, geez, he is fast.
That doesn't
Crap.
surprise me. I mean, the guy, he run 4.3?
Yeah.
He's 4.3 and like 6'4". Like,
I
he's
just-
kind of what you dream of in terms of like the physical profile of a receiver. The problem is the guy can't stay healthy. So we'll see if he can do it in the NFL. But in college, he could not stay healthy.
If he stays healthy, then I think we can finally say the SEC is better than the NFL.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess so.
It's tougher.
Yeah, I guess so. And
What a missed opportunity with him, though.
did you see?
Because he made a few plays,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh man.
Well, I mean, he caught that that crossing pattern last year against Oklahoma, and it was just gone. And it's like, I mean, how do you keep up?
Do
with
more
this
of
kid?
that.
Yeah,
Right.
just go get
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but did you see what caused the big firestorm with Vol Twitter yesterday? So there's this video that's out there of a one-on-one rep at wide receiver. DB goes up, makes a great play, and has the interception. Wide receiver's open by like, I don't know, a yard or 2. If he just lays the ball right over the top, it's an easy touchdown. DB makes the pick, and I can't remember which wide receiver it was right now, but you look back in the video, and Tennessee's media team has blurred out the quarterback. Like, it's just a big blur.
Come on.
Where the quarterback was. So people have no idea who threw the interception. It's just blurred out. And all Twitter's like,
no.
they couldn't show the quarterback. It's blurred out. What's going on over here? It's hilarious.
They
It's just big
redacted.
blur. Yeah,
They redacted the quarterback from the video.
that is correct.
this. This is an outrage. We may have to deal with it. I'm texting somebody at Tennessee right now.
It's
You got to be kidding me.
It's just totally blurred out. It's very funny. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. We'll have the Rob rant coming up next. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Hey, so Brian, you're kind of a jackass, huh?
What's appear mean? It just means it's you dreamed about it, and that means it's there, or?
Brian, is it symbolism that you're late?
Fart you, I won't do what you told me.
You still wear a watch?
Well, I spent $21,000 on the tickets.
21,000. I think it's 2,100.
Don't tell my wife.
Does your watch work all right or what? Huh?
No, Archie, please don't do that.
It is that time of the day. Time for the Rob Rant here on the program. You can check it out every morning, either the Rob Rant or the Rex Rant. Somebody got really mad at us the other day. It was like, my rant is the rant starts at 7:45, not 7:51.
Yeah.
Like we're at 7:46 today. We're good.
I think that was from one of the people we're not supposed to talk to anymore.
Oh, okay.
You just gave them a platform.
No. I can't keep
Whatever.
up. The list is growing of people.
I know.
So
I'm going to try to ban everyone. You're all banned.
Yeah. If you text into the text line, there's a 63% chance that Rexrode won't allow me to read it.
Well, I got a huge list of numbers that we don't respond to.
That's right. So my rant today kind of stems from this. David Ubben put together a really interesting piece at The Athletic, basically going into detail about college football players and how often they actually transfer. So what he did here is he took a look at the data, and it goes back to, basically 2021, the class of 2021, which is when the freedom of movement that we see now with the transfer portal really began. It's a really fascinating piece here. And, I said back when all the Nico stuff went down, about him leaving and going to UCLA, Tennessee has Faison Brandon coming in, which is, depending on where you look, the number one quarterback recruit in 2026. So they got a high-level quarterback coming in. But I said at the time, like, yeah, I'll get excited about these quarterbacks and these recruits, like when they're on the field taking snaps from my team. Like, that's basically how I feel about it now. And I wondered, like, how often these guys transfer. And looking at this list that Ubben has put together is just kind of mind-blowing when you look at it this way. So it's the class of 2021, and it goes through their careers, and they've done this by, the top 50 prospects at each position, and just taking a look at how often they transfer. And, they've got one-time transfers in here, and they've broken it up from that and multiple transfers as well. If you're looking at this, it's pretty amazing. And as Ubben points out, the highest frequency position of transfers that have happened have been at quarterback, which is not overly surprising. There's not a ton of quarterbacks to choose from on a roster anyway, so that would probably be my guess. But when you look at it, it's pretty amazing. In class of 2021, which includes, some of these people are in the NFL right now. Some of these people are still playing college football. There's a long list of the way that this has gone. 84% of quarterbacks that they've gone through in this study, the top 50, have transferred at least one time in their college football career. 84%. It's an unbelievable number. 36% of those have transferred multiple times. So have gone to at least 3 different spots in college. It's followed closely behind is wide receiver, which is at 82%. So quarterbacks and wide receivers have been highly, highly volatile in terms of their transfer part of this. The interesting part is you look at the offensive linemen, offensive tackles are at 44% have transferred. Edge rushers only at 34%.
Yeah.
So at the line of scrimmage, you don't really see, or at least we haven't to this point with the data, seen people transferring all that much. But 84% of the quarterbacks in this situation, in this poll here, have transferred at least one time, which goes back basically to what I'm saying. It's pretty hard for me to get excited about high school recruiting anymore, because it's like, what are the chances really that the guys that you're recruiting are going to be at your school and play for your team all 4 years? This would suggest, especially when you go by position here, if it's a quarterback, the odds are very low that the quarterback is going to end up being at your school all 4 years or all 3 years before they get drafted, whatever the case is.
Yeah. What'll be interesting as we keep moving forward is like, I still feel it's like if you do a great job of high school recruiting and you're going to retain X percentage on average, then okay, then that still, I think, means that you're going to have better teams. You then, of course, have to do good things of yourself in the portal. Like everybody has to do that. But or will that change, or will it start to not necessarily line up with these top recruiting rankings teams are generally year after year the top teams, period. I don't know. I mean, those top teams are they have everything, right? I mean, they have everything. They have the money, they have the coaching, they have like the whole thing going. And so they continue to be at the top of the rankings. But yeah, I agree. Like from a fan perspective, it's just every single recruit your team gets now. It's great. Like I still see Vols fans celebrating. They just got this kid from Utah, right?
Yeah. It's hard for me to care.
He's gonna, and then it's like Steve Wilfar. Oh, this guy's gonna be great. And but it's like,
is he ever gonna play snap?
Right.
I don't know. Like, the odds are, in Tennessee is the example we'll use just because it's one that we've got here that is probably going to be in a situation like this. Like Tennessee at the moment, you got Merklinger on the roster, and I'm looking even beyond this year, but Merklinger, McIntyre, and you got Faison Brandon coming in. Well, I can pretty much tell you that 2 of those 3 guys probably by this list, this time 2 years from now, will not be here. Like it's just that's what the numbers tell you. Like 2 of those 3 guys will probably not be here 2 years from now. So like, what do you do with that as a fan? Like to me, I've approached it this way. Like high school recruiting is still fun. Like it's fun to look at the list and you're like, oh, cool. Like Tennessee's 9th on 24/7 Sports, or Vanderbilt's gotten into the top 50 on 3. Like that's cool. It's awesome. Like Clark Lee's doing a good job. But in today's college football, like as a fan, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, all that's fun. Let me know when those guys are playing, like are actually contributing on the team.
Yeah, the one thing that has changed so much of college football is like the hugeness of signing day and what it all meant. Just a few years ago, it was a national holiday. You had all the huge battles, Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, and Ohio State's after this safety or this, and of course, as anybody who follows the sport at all knows, that basically a lot of bidding wars happening at the very end, and basically who can get the best deal, because paying players is not a brand new thing. But that whole thing is just gone. Like there's just and there's still now the early sign day, but it's I think as we've gone just the last few years, I feel like it gets less and less pub and as it feels less and less important. So, we do need to deal with the blur out, man.
Yeah.
At some point,
I'm glad I made you aware of this.
I'm glad you made me aware of it too. Someone texted about the blur out. It's wild.
Tennessee football just blurring out quarterbacks out there on their official account. It's like nothing to see here with the quarterbacks. We're just going to put a big blur on who threw an interception.
It was a Dementor, not one of our quarterbacks. He's trying to kill us all at practice. That is insanity.
It does do a pretty good job of leaving you guessing. It's like, all right, so who do I hope that quarterback was that underthrew the go ball by 3 yards? I don't know. Who's the walk-on? Mason Phillips. I hope it was him.
Yeah. Let's say it was him.
Yeah.
They redacted the quarterback. That's truly insane. Like I like it's kind of like
I've never seen a team do that.
Like,
I don't think.
Is it unethical to do that?
I don't know.
Are we getting into like AI?
I mean, it's
AI
college.
running their video.
So the college football teams and practices have all these weird rules anyway. But to me, like if you're gonna blur out the quarterback, then maybe just don't put the clip out there, right? Like just leave it alone.
And the thing is, it's like I feel like you would have had to really. I'm sure that's what happened, right? It's like some Vols fan was like, okay, I'm going to slow this down so I can see who this is.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh my god,
they
blurred it out.
Which I think also suggests that like the Tennessee football media team is well aware of how crazy this fan base is. Like, all right, the first thing we need to do is make sure that no one can identify this quarterback here, please.
Yeah, and so I understand the fan base, but like to me, I mean, this is extreme softness from a sports organization. This is like world-class level softness to blur out the quarterback who threw a pick in a drill.
Yeah, I agree.
Holy crap. Someone needs to ask Josh Heupel who the blurred out quarterback was.
Yeah,
seriously. Who's going to ask the question?
Get to the bottom of it.
I'm texting with Sparks right now.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us. Coming up next, we'll get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning, talking some Titans. And to help us do that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our buddy Corey Curtis from News 2, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. Corey, good morning. How are you?
I am delightful. Just had the first sip of coffee, so I'm ready to go.
I'm doing pretty good, too. I saw a lot of clips from Caleb Williams at Bears Family Night over the weekend. Made me feel good.
It looks really good right now.
It's
really
going great
good
out there.
Is he having some tantrums out there? What's going on?
He's not having some tantrums. He's having some difficulty locating his wide receivers at the moment. But other than that, things going well. It's just practice, though. Who cares?
His towards is officially broken.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that nobody will panic in Chicago. Speaking of practice, Corey, apparently Brian Callahan letting loose on the offense at the end of yesterday's practice. What do you make of the fact that the offense has not really had any traction yet to this point in camp? How concerned are you by that?
Well, yeah, this has obviously been something I've been thinking a lot about the last couple of days and just trying and talking to guys. You know, one thing they do feel good about is the run game. I think the offensive line feels good about what they're, the lanes that they're starting to open up there. And they're not running the ball a ton in practice. I mean, they're throwing it a lot. Bill Callahan talked about they're not helping the tackles at all right now. They're just letting them go one-on-one with people. So they're not chipping. They're not giving them a tight end and pass pro. They're just going straight up and working on technique and some of those things. So, so there are some things kind of stacked against them a little bit, I think, but what concerns me most, and I know this is all a developing process, so I'm not condemning anyone of anything, but it's what concerns me most. I'd like to see more plays made from the pocket. I mean, I'd like to see, more passes come out of the pocket and, hit receivers and make plays at that point. Virtually every big play you see on Twitter has come from extending the play almost a ridiculous amount of time at times. And there need to be more timely plays out of the pocket, and that's what needs to develop in my opinion, but who am I?
Do you think, Corey, that there is an overarching issue with intangibles? I mean, I have never heard a camp where there's this many different voices who are observing, who are talking about energy, focus, sloppiness, just like sort of a lack of oomph. And then of course you culminate with the coach, the mild-mannered coach, finally losing his bleep on them yesterday. Do you feel like there's an intangible issue, beaten down by losing, not enough leaders, whatever it may be, that is going to intensify what are already serious issues with having enough good football players?
Well, look, and you picked first in the NFL draft here, so they're a team building from the basement, correct?
Oh yeah,
so
you betcha.
Yeah, I mean, so you were just the worst team in the league, so you better believe your confidence has taken a hit. I mean, J.C. Latham didn't change his body for nothing. Jeffrey Simmons didn't change his body for no reason at all. These guys looked at that 3-14, what it meant for the team and what it means for them personally, and they said something's got to be better here. So this team, we talk about competition. Competition comes when both sides make plays, right? And so that's where confidence comes from too, is making plays. And so I think this team needs to make some plays. You hear things chirping up and getting more competitive when both sides start making plays. Saturday was their most competitive practice. I thought Saturday was a good practice. It was a competitive practice on both sides making plays. And then, yesterday, was just kind of a turd. And, and that was offensively. The defense made plays. And it wasn't good, but I mean, I'm not going to say I haven't seen bad ones in the past. Okay. So I'm not going to overreact to yesterday, but I know you're asking a broader question. And my broader answer is, it would be crazy to think that their confidence didn't take a hit. It's one of the reasons that they work so much on competition in the offseason. Mike Mularkey did the same thing when he took over a football team that was absolutely dreadful. And so, I'm confident that they know the issues and they're trying to overcome them. And then the other leadership issue you're talking about, they know it's an issue. It was one of the things they wanted to work on this summer was developing leaders because their core players, their core leadership group is gone. Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Ben Jones, those guys are all gone. They need a new core leadership group. That group needs to come to the surface to help pull this whole thing forward. So, I think the answer to a lot of those questions are yes, but I don't think that they should be surprising when you have a team that just went 3-14.
What do you make of how the receiving room is going to be? I mean, you mentioned it. The offense is struggling right now. The passing game has not been able to gain much traction. Who is, we know what Ridley's going to bring to the table. We know they brought in Lockett for a specific role. How do you envision at this point, based on what you've seen in camp, kind of who those third and fourth guys are going to be for this offense?
Well, I mean, I think Van Jefferson is safe. I think he's the safe play. He's a pro. He's been around it. He's made some plays every day. So I think he's your new NWI, in the offense. You can put him out there and be okay. But I do like the two young guys, and I think that they are coming along, and I'm really interested to see how they do in these joint practices and preseason games because, they have upside. Lockett and Jefferson don't have upside. They've either got flat side or downside. That's all that they've got left. Those guys aren't going to get better. And, when you're a 3-14 football team, you're not looking for guys who are on the downward track or on a flat track. You're looking for guys who are ascending. So, I think the sooner they can get those guys on the field, the better. And then the other guy that I'll die on the mountaintop for is Bryce Oliver. I think, he's looked good again. And I know he's going to play special teams. But I think he can play offense for this football team. The question is just, with the numbers, how do you get him enough snaps with the other guys you want to keep?
Well, speaking of, which way the arrow's pointing on careers, it does seem like right at this point, Corey, I think Dan Moore probably stabilizing things a little bit. Again, we'll
Absolutely.
see, but looks like he's going to be an upgrade. To what extent, we don't know, but to some extent. And then maybe Kevin Zeitler looks like a guy who, has his best days behind him a little bit. Now, I think, going up. He's struggling with Jeff. Yeah, he's struggling with Jeff. So, like a lot of people are going to struggle with Jeff, especially with Jeff, the way he's moving right now. I think others will struggle with him. But are you concerned at all about Zeitler?
A little bit. I mean, look, when Roger Saffold came in, it was a struggle for him at first too. And, the Titans are doing things a little differently than Zeitler is used to, and he is going against 98. So while I think you'd be a fool to see what's going on now and not go, wow, that's not ideal. But Zeitler's been around long enough, and this isn't a hope situation. We hope Zeitler's a good player. Zeitler's a good player, and I'm confident he'll figure it out. Yes, I want to see him play better, but I'm also confident that he will. So I guess there, and Dan Moore is unquestionably an upgrade from what they've had on the left side. He's athletic. He's a willing combatant. He is a football player, not a giant man in a football uniform. And so that will definitely be an improvement. I'm confident of that.
So, Corey, the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas looks like it is deteriorating. Now, if you ask Jerry Jones, nothing to worry about, but we'll see what happens. I guess my view on this is until I see one of these guys actually get traded, I just assume it's probably going to work out with the team that they're currently at. But let's just play this out a little bit. Let's say, they just can't figure it out. And Micah Parsons just doesn't want to go back to the negotiating table with the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
We know that pretty much every team in the league is going to be giving them a call. So if you're the Titans, would you be comfortable giving up what's probably going to be a couple first-round picks, maybe plus something, to go make a pitch for Micah Parsons? Was that be something you would do if you're the Titans based on where their roster is?
I could include one first rounder. I don't think I could include two. I'm not one for building in trades and free agency. I'm more from developing with him, but he's 26 years old and just turned 26 years old. So, you trade for him, you should get his 4 or 5 best years. So I don't mind trading a one, because you should get your one's worth, out of him. And it's also going to cost you, but he's Avonte Mack for any team who gets him. He's transformative for their defense. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, he is a tackling machine and a pressure machine. And, you think about a Titans defense that went Simmons, Sweat, Oladejo and Parsons. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's something. But, I don't think that's going to be the case. But, Jerry's in his own world.
Yep.
And, I understand you can't pay everyone everything. And I do understand that Micah Parsons has had some injury problems. He has missed some times. I just don't ever think it's a good idea to embarrass or call out or question your star players in public, when they're, one of the best players you've ever drafted on that side of the ball.
I mean, you're not going to get him with one first, Corey. You gotta ante up, man. You gotta ante up.
Well, what did the Bears give to get Khalil Mack?
2 first-round picks plus a bunch of other picks.
2 first, a second, a third, and something else, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't hate that trade because the Bears, I think that was when they had Cutler, right?
I believe.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And they went to the NFC.
Cutler.
That was when they went to the NFC Championship, and Cutler had to leave at halftime because of the knee injury. So the Bears were in a position where they thought this trade wins us the Super Bowl. And I think if Parsons gets traded, that's the team that trades for him, the team that thinks this wins us the Super Bowl. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, this gets us over the hump and wins us a Super Bowl.
Imagine Parsons on or the Chiefs. But imagine him on the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the team that finally wants to get over the Chargers. Okay. The Chargers can put the Bosa on one end and him on the other.
Jags.
Or is Bosa not there anymore?
Down there in Duval.
Bosa.
Yeah. I mean, the
Joey's
Jags are close.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
Joey's in Buffalo. Joey's in Buffalo.
If the Jags could trade for Parsons, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Patrick Mahomes, Lane Johnson, they could get there.
Dresser win.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Dresser win before?
No.
He's the Chargers' fourth quarterback from Dresden,
He's
Tennessee.
the Rams' fourth quarterback. He's not the Chargers' fourth quarterback.
Dang it, I screwed it up. Jeez.
I thought he was related to L.E. Funt.
Corey, great stuff as always, my friend. Appreciate you taking time to be with us, and we will talk to you next week.
All right. Long way to go. Long way to go. But it's okay to question. Okay?
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. So here we are.
I totally agree.
Especially after last year when we were told every box was checked.
Yeah, well, there's that. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah. Bye.
Corey Curtis from News 2, our guest. Brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. We'll react to what Corey had to say. Plus, Jeremy Fowler rolled through Titans camp this weekend. He's come out with some news and notes, one of which is going to make Rexrode look like a genius. The other of which that really caught my eye. Pretty interesting. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Appreciate Corey Curtis for being with us in the last segment. Joe, Jeremy Fowler has come through Titans camp. He's on his training camp tour, he and Dan Graziano, and they have made their way around the different spots. They've been in Jacksonville and Indianapolis and Baltimore and Chicago and all over the place. Well, they went through Nashville this weekend, and Jeremy Fowler has come out with some news and notes from some of his takeaways from being around the Titans. He's got some comments from Brian Callahan in here. He's got some comments from Mike Borgonzi in here. It's a pretty interesting mailbag that he's put together here. But he says some of his kind of takeaways, one of them makes you look like a genius, just right in lockstep with you. Quote, this from Jeremy Fowler. I don't often feed the best shape of my life camp themes, but goodness, does Jeffrey Simmons look impressive. He's down 20 pounds, looks a lot lighter. Quote, if it's not chicken or fish, it's not on the menu, Jeffrey Simmons said. Simmons is not a volume sack guy, but is hoping for more pass rush production. The Titans don't have that guy who can go get a sack on 3rd and 7 late in the game, and Simmons hopes to fulfill some of that. So Joe Rexrode, not the only one that is raving about Jeffrey Simmons and the way that he's looked in camp.
I look like a genius as long as he's not dumb too. As long as we're both not dumb.
There is that.
We might both be dumb.
We'll
No, I mean, look, I tried to couch it last week. I like, look, I don't want to overreact or anything like that. It's one of those things when you don't see someone for a long time, sometimes the changes are more obviously dramatic when you do. So, but hey, he has put himself in position to have, I think, a very big year. I don't know if that means he's going to, have a 12 sack season or anything like that, but yeah, he looks really good. So good eye, Jeremy.
Another interesting note from Jeremy Fowler says the Titans are open to adding on defense and free agency. Says pass rusher and corner would be the two spots to watch there. And he singles out somebody by name, which is always interesting when Fowler does this. One name to watch, veteran defensive end Preston Smith. Now we know that edge rusher is light for the Titans right now. And Preston Smith is still out there. I've watched a lot of Preston Smith over the years. He's 32 years old. It kind of seems like he has fallen off the table a little bit over the last year, which is why he's still out there, by the way. But he had 4.5 sacks last year combined between Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Still out there at the age of 32. But Jeremy Fowler naming Preston Smith by name as somebody to watch as it relates to the Tennessee Titans, Joe.
Get excited. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if Preston Smith, if he's in great shape and everything and ready to go, that he could come in here and help a little bit. That's the state of their edge group.
Yeah.
So, but again, you'd rather, like, Ali Gay's made some plays, Jalen Harrell is around, and obviously Oladejo's going to have a key role, but you'd rather some young guys start to get to the point where, like, okay, you know what, we don't need to go get some 30-something guys sitting around in August.
Also says, while the Titans have been pleased with Brandon Allen's presence as the primary backup quarterback, they're going to monitor free agency or potential trades for veterans over the next month. Allen looked capable of handling QB2 duties. From what I saw, he's been productive in camp. This from Jeremy Fowler, saying that the Titans are going to have their eye on quarterbacks around the league for a potential backup quarterback position there.
Yeah, I think that they should. Hey, look, I mean, apparently Tim Boyle's even having some moments.
Much to the chagrin of Kuharski.
Throwing it around
noted
the yard.
Tim Boyle hater.
Yeah, noted Tim Boyle hater, who, by the way, is going to come in here for on the first day of Jake Lyman's show.
That is correct.
Possibly spit some hatred toward Tim Boyle. Who knows?
Who knows what will happen? But I found that interesting. You named Preston Smith by name as somebody to keep an eye on for the Tennessee Titans, and talked about his impressions of Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, look, he goes through the list here. He talks about Callahan and kind of the job that's in front of them, pulling themselves out of being the worst team in the league. And Mike Borgonzi, he talks to him and as a part of this piece here, and basically Borgonzi's not throwing a win total out there in terms of what he's expecting, but just wants to see him get better, which we've heard from Mike Borgonzi a few times now. You're not going to see those guys be like, yeah, I'd like to see about 7-8 wins from the quarterback this year.
Well, if we don't win 9 games this year, everybody's fired. Yeah. Does anybody give a win total?
I don't think
They
it happens
GM us
very
out
often.
there and say we better win 11,
Yeah,
man.
no, no, no.
Our over under.
What's our FanDuel? What's our FanDuel over under? We better hit it.
Yeah,
a better idea.
Nice. Oh God, never gets old.
Idea and quarterback. Excuse me. Keep it going.
Quarterback.
like them apples?
Yeah. Interesting report. Yeah, how it is. And Jeremy Fowler does a good job, and obviously he has a good eye.
Yeah,
out
sure.
there. But these are always. This is like they're always generally positive, right? Now it is. I read this and I didn't detect any. Oh my! Because some of this, like on the NFL Network, it really does get like everybody's amazing.
Yeah, they're all making the playoffs.
Everybody,
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's the NFL Network, and it's the in-house. So like, let's all get excited. Get all the fans excited. There's reason for optimism everywhere. Some of it gets a little bit over the top and very annoying at this point at this time of the year.
Now Kuharski has texted us and says, "Don't fall into this getting excited about a 3 versus 3s." Look, I'm just trying to
calm down.
I'm just trying to get
Kuharski.
you to show the requisite respect for Tim Boyle.
I was
who's
told
still motoring around in this league right now.
Right. I was told that Tim Boyle couldn't throw the ball 8 yards in front of him. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it looks like he can actually, like, grip a football and let a spiral rip out of the hand. So, good for him.
Eli from Smyrna says Preston Smith will retire after 2 weeks after the Titans signing. Well, maybe. If he plays 2 weeks, then, makes it farther than some of these guys when they sign with the Titans.
He'll get to hit some of the good food spots in Nashville. It's a very good food city. Have a little fun. Call it a day. Call it a career.
One texter says, I'm hoping to God one of the quarterbacks from the Giants hit the market. And Jameis out there?
So it's Russ.
They had
Russ, Jameis, and Dart. We know Russ and Dart.
Lose is really not in my vocabulary.
Darn right it's not. They had the opportunity to go get Jameis this offseason and did not do it. So I wonder what the interest level would be there.
Yep. And meanwhile, someone texted earlier, like, how about Shador, I don't know, having more success or something than Camp? Shador Sanders, like, didn't even participate the other day, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into the Shador Sanders stuff right now.
I mean, he's hurt. And also, all the word is that Dylan Gabriel has outperformed him. So if you want to talk about me being a genius, pump the brakes.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll get back into our offense conversation that we had earlier in the show. Has not gained traction to this point in camp. How concerning is that? Are Titans fans actually having an open mind on Brian Callahan heading into the year? A lot of thoughts on that we had earlier in the show. We welcome those again on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll have that coming next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hey, fantasy football right around the corner, and Twin Peaks is your spot for your fantasy football draft party. You can stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus a $50 bonus card for the commish, and an additional $5 bonus card for every drafter as well. You can call to book your draft party at the Twin Peaks and Cool Springs or Madison locations. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. Once again, that's twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more info. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Take your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Shout out to Dave on the text line. Says, is Tim, is Boyle, is he blurred out? We must give the Tennessee Athletic Department the full share of crap it deserves for this. It is truly incredible.
I can't believe you didn't see this yesterday. It was all Twitter was like, who is the blurred out quarterback? Who did it?
I was at a crawfish boil, not eating crawfish. So, but yeah, it's amazing. Like, this is truly an amazing.
Underthrew the ball by 5 yards. Show me who the quarterback is.
This is like Shy Tuttle getting hit in the face by falling on a helmet. I mean, this is amazing. I need Butch Jones to actually be their coach now. This would be the most perfect Butch Jones.
What do we want from our media?
Yeah.
What do we want from our media, guys? You're asking me too many tough questions.
Oh God!
Let's go read the P charts in the bathroom over here.
Like I'm gonna FOIA a bunch of stuff from Tennessee. Open records. I need to see emails like, hey guys, we got a situation here. Someone threw an interception in a drill. We cannot let anyone know the identity of the man who threw the interception in a drill.
Brandon says, my guess it was the guy who led the country in interceptions last season. Blurring it was Ellerby's idea. It always comes back to Glenn Ellerby with Brandon.
I know. It's yeah. Maybe it actually we're totally wrong, and it's like an offensive lineman who just looked out of shape. He's like, hey,
there was his theory.
Blur him out.
I forget who tweeted it. I don't think it was Sparks. I'm trying to remember who tweeted it yesterday. But it was like, well, it kind of looks like it may not be a quarterback. And then people were like, well, why would you blur out some random dude and not a quarterback in this situation? I have no idea. So somebody got blurred out in the video yesterday and it appeared to be fully closed. So it wasn't that.
So, okay. So I just want to, so obviously it's not like it went online and then they did like this was
I think it was originally blurred out.
Originally, like we are not putting this out until we get the
blur in there, so nobody can identify the quarterback who threw this horrendous interception.
I mean, it was an
underthrown ball.
Underthrown ball in a drill.
Yeah, it was underthrown ball.
God, I can't get over this, Tennessee. I'm not going to let this go.
Heupel better be asked about this at some point.
I mean, seriously, you have to ask. You have to ask,
Josh,
guys.
can you tell us who the quarterback was that was blurred out in your social media team's video the other day that threw a pick? Fans are wanting to know. Rexrode's wanting to know.
Or just ask who threw the pick.
Yeah.
Who threw the interception?
Yeah.
No one's going to ask that.
It's like that information is redacted.
They're not going to ask.
The amazing part to me continues to be, like, if you have to go to that length to edit the video where you got to blur out the quarterback, then maybe just don't put the video out.
Right,
there,
like
right?
why is that right? Why was that clip so important? I mean, who was the DB? Do we know?
I couldn't even. I don't
know
know
what the DB
was.
I mean, it was a good play. Good play by the DB.
Yeah,
kind of a gift.
Yeah, it was bad.
So
throw.
It's like if we're gonna throw, so let's show the play, which it doesn't really make anybody look good.
Yeah,
very
interesting.
Yeah.
And by the way, their social, like their media team up there is pretty good. Man.
Oh,
like, it's
no
pretty
question.
Electric, but this is an interesting one.
No, their production, I would argue their production on things is probably industry leading. And now you got Mike Keith out there.
Yeah, it's really good.
I want to know what Mike Keith thinks about this blurred out.
Did Mike Keith blur the quarterback
Should
out the video?
Should we get Mike Keith?
Hey, Mike, who was the quarterback? Good stuff. Good stuff.
We're gonna find out who that was.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the offense for the Titans failing to gain traction at this point of training camp. Now, Saturday, apparently, we heard Corey Curtis talk about this a few minutes ago. One of the best practices of camp. The offense looked better. Cam Ward didn't turn the ball over, and it was like, okay, maybe this is the practice where, the passing game in particular starts to turn around a little bit. And then they followed it up on Sunday with a practice offensively that was poor enough where the coach just started yelling at everybody at the end of practice yesterday. So on the whole, save for a day or two here or there, Joe, it kind of sounds like the offense, when they're trying to throw the ball and get work done out there, has not gone very well. And we've talked about the interceptions with Cam Ward and all those things. But, yesterday was, I believe, day 5 in a row of padded practice, their 5th padded practice in a row. And it just doesn't feel like the offense has been able to gain much traction. at this point. So what's our concern level over that? That led to a conversation earlier in the program about Brian Callahan, and we will certainly get back into that here in the next few minutes. But on the surface, kind of viewing all of that together, and Callahan apparently losing it a little bit at the end of practice yesterday. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, well, I think Callahan losing it, I think that's something that probably happens with every coach in every camp at some point. He is obviously a longer fuse guy than a lot of people, so it must have been pretty bad. I'm actually, speaking of Kaharski, I'm going through all of his stuff from yesterday, including that Xavier Woods and Amani Hooker both dropped picks that Cam Ward threw to them, but that they dropped them. We also saw, by the way, I think it was it Saturday or was it Friday, the ridiculously good throw that Ridley dropped.
Yeah.
That, there should have been a touchdown. But, I mean, even, like Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports, I mean, I think a word he used was disgusting. I think disgusting is a word that he used. So, I mean, there's ugly. I mean, it sounds like it was just a bad, confidence is low, energy's low, execution's low, and no one is angrily breaking out of it. So the coach angrily expressed himself. I am interested to hear from Kaharski exactly how fiery was this, But, I mean, look, we've seen it with Will Levis last year, and there was a famous dressing down of the Bengals that he did when he was there. As OC.
Terry McCormick described it this way on social media yesterday. He said he ended practice with a profanity-filled tirade at his offense, is the way that Terry McCormick described it. So a profanity-filled tirade is what Terry McCormick said.
And look, if you cover the Tennessee Titans, profanity filled means something. It may not mean something for Brian Callahan, but you just came away from Vrabel, who brushes his teeth with F-bombs. So that's some serious stuff. Now, again, at this point they've gotten used to kinder, gentler coach behavior, but it sounds pretty fiery.
It does. So I don't know. We'll see how the offense responds to that. I mean, they're not back out there till Wednesday, right? So it's not like, and it's again a situation where you've got the coach doing that to end practice, and then you don't hear from him after, right? Like he had his press conference before practice. So a situation yesterday where it would have probably been nice to be like, have him stepping off the field after having just absolutely blasted his team and then stepping up to the podium and having a press conference. That would have been nice. But we did not get that yesterday.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I really don't like this. Let's talk about everything that might happen today. Oh, yeah, I guess you can ask me about the yesterday stuff, too, if you still care. Sometimes, it's like that was like really wanted your take on that. Okay, so let's talk about what will happen today, and then all this stuff will happen, and then you have to sit there for 24 hours. And I just don't think that serves the people who are following the team very well.
I would agree.
Fans/media.
I would agree. And then, Brian Callahan, we obviously when you start talking about the offensive struggles, it's like, well, the offense is his baby. And we know there's a rookie quarterback coming in, and it's still training camp. And I'm not going to sit here and talk out of both sides of my mouth. I've talked to you before about like the limitations of how much I care about training camp. I'm not saying that you can never derive any meaning from it whatsoever, but it's one thing for the offense to be struggling in early August. It's another thing for the offense to be struggling in the second week of September. So when that happens, then you'll probably start to see me panic a little bit more. But it's not – I understand if you're a Titans fan and with how bad the offense has been the last few years, the last thing you want to hear about beginning camp with a new quarterback that you're really excited about and you're hopeful for moving forward is the offense struggling to this point. You would rather have it the other way.
You said when, not if.
Well, we'll see.
Is that a Freudian slip?
Maybe.
Or maybe it's just
it may just
what
be
we all know to be true.
Here.
Yeah.
Look,
that first game at Denver, that's not going to be pretty, guys.
I don't think it's a hot take that this could be a bit of a process here for the Titans this year. I mean, I do look at the end of the schedule and it's like, good Lord, if you could somehow survive and find yourself like in a spot where you're just not totally out of it by the time, late November rolls around, then you may give yourself a shot to at least make some games at the end of the year interesting. But I think it's going to be a tough process to get there.
You also might play yourself out of the top overall pick at the end of the year.
Well, there's also that.
Don't do that.
There's also that. Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Man, you remember the first Happy Gilmore when he's walking around cussing, like this is when he first got on tour, and he's walking around cussing, and they're thinking about kicking him out, and the TV's just like blurring everything out. I hope it was something like that. Like, I hope it was so bad, like just over the top. Because they said last week, they were like, somebody needs to bring energy here. This does not feel normal, so whatever. Maybe he had in his head, like, if they screw up, I'm blowing up today. So I don't. It just seems like too coincidental that people are saying, multiple days in a row that there's no energy, and then a really calm guy loses his cool. So I don't know. It seems like maybe it was premeditated.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. A lot of Happy Gilmore discussion on the program lately.
Yes. I hope everybody's seen part. Have you seen part 2?
Not yet. I got to get on that.
All right. I'm getting mostly agreements with people like, yeah, it was fun. Some people thought it was supposed to be, Academy Award winner. Yeah. I don't know. Premeditated. Yeah. I hope not. You'd rather that be in the moment, genuine, pure fury. It sounds like the practice was bad enough for it to be genuine in the moment. I mean, I'm sure he didn't expect them to be this bad, right? On Sunday. Now, it was a, 5th padded practice in a week. So you also do keep that in mind. It's a lot, especially today in today's NFL. That is a lot. So I think there's some level of kind of beating the team down a little bit here that has to be premeditated, right? But hopefully the tirade was genuine. He doesn't have many of them.
I mean, yeah, I would expect that it was. Like, it's hard for me to believe. It's like, I'm walking into practice today, and the moment I don't like something, I'm just going to lose it on somebody.
I'm mad at you guys.
Yeah, the question that we really didn't get to the bottom of was when he was yelling at all these people, was the hat on forward, was the hat on backwards? I don't know. That's what we got to get to the bottom of the next time he goes on some tirade.
Or did he
got to have
stomp
the
on
cameras out there. Did he stomp?
Throw it down and stomp on
There's
it.
a lot
That's
of things
a good one
that we got to figure out. We'll continue the discussion on Brian Callahan coming up next. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
First team offense has not really scored a lot of touchdowns in the red zone so far in camp in those periods. Is that an area of concern?
Concern? No. We've been in the high red zone a bunch. Haven't worked down to the low. We got more red zone work today, so actual focused red zone work where we're starting down inside the 12. But yeah, I would like to see more movement in the red zone in the periods that we've had. But we got a lot of work to do in the red zone in general. That's probably one of the harder areas. A lot of our early focus has been on third downs, which has been great. And now we'll shift into the red zone today and get some more work. But yeah, we got work to do there for sure.
That's Brian Callahan over the weekend discussing the work to be done on the offensive side of the ball, in that instance, particularly in the red zone. Offense has struggled to this point in camp. We're taking your thoughts on that, 615-737-1025. Joe, we had a discussion about Callahan earlier in the show, and basically it boiled down to, look, we've heard from Titans fans in the offseason, and we've heard from a lot today that are just out on Callahan. They have zero confidence whatsoever. They think he's a dead man walking. I think Mark from Nashville used the lame duck head coach phrase earlier. And there are others that say, you know what, I've got an open mind. Quarterback play was so bad last year. Roster was bad, so we'll see if he's got some answers this year. You know, I've said it. I'm approaching Callahan with an open mind this year with the understanding that the minute that things start to go wrong, he is going to be the one that gets the blame, right? Like if Cam Ward, whether it's having to do with coaching or just being a rookie in the NFL that's taking his lumps, if he's not good out of the gate, people around here aren't going to blame Cam Ward. They're going to blame Brian Callahan. Like that's the position that he's in right now after having gone 3-14 and being in some cases just not competitive last year. So the odds are stacked against him heading into this year, particularly if you're thinking about, like, is Brian Callahan going to be the head coach of the Tennessee Titans by the time that new stadium opens up? The odds would tell you probably not. But I don't think that he's just some foregone conclusion that he's fired at the end of this year. It has been an interesting exercise today, Joe, based on the reaction we've gotten, just how many Titans fans seem to be absolutely out of it before the season even starts.
Yeah, I still think the Callahaters is a much smaller group. I think sometimes it's just the loudest group. The hold on a second, there's. I think that's a larger group of people, you know. So what else do we have? We have the Cam Do's, and what was the other one?
Well, it was the Cam Don'ts. Cam Do's and
Is
Cam
that
Don'ts,
it? Just
right?
Cam Do's and Cam Don'ts?
Yeah.
Then I thought there was
something
else
Wards.
Oh, maybe there was another.
There was
I can't keep
Ward
up with
something.
Rexrode,
Ward, are you doing?
Yeah,
the Ward.
That's what
are you doing?
Cam Do's and the Ward are you doings? Good
Ian
job.
coming in clutch.
Good pull. There you go. So you got those people, and then you got the Callahaters and the Hold on. I'd say I'm on. You know, I think the hold on people are all right. You know, good point made by a few people on text line today, which is, so these Titans fans, are you also Titans fans who have been screaming at Amy about firing everybody?
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, keep doing it. But you are a bad owner for firing everybody. But fire him. Fire him too. Fire.
Well, I said, like, there's the charge is now on Brian Callahan to demonstrate something this year, right? Like, because I would argue
absolutely
that he demonstrated nowhere near enough last year. Like, there's not very many things you could point to last year. It was like, yeah, I felt really good about Brian Callahan in that particular situation, walking away from the season last year. So, look, I understand. Like, from the standpoint of circumstances around him, it's not that much different heading into this year on the surface. Like, they've got a rookie quarterback, and we'll see how good or not good he is from the jump. But, like, it's still a roster that you look at and you're like, yeah, this isn't a very good roster. Like, and the Titans have basically openly admitted that. Like, every time you ask Brinker and Borgonzi about it, it's like, yeah, well, you know, we're trying to get better. So the circumstances in some cases are still bad for Callahan walking into this. But the bottom line is this is the NFL. And at some point you've got to show that you can either elevate something or that you've got some answers out there as a head coach, or you're just not going to be around very long. And the charge is on him to display some of that this year.
There's no question. Some of it is just this sort of undefinable, you know, it's just a team that looks like it's well coached, because it didn't last year. It was a bad team, but it also too often didn't look like it was well coached. Another question earlier, I forget the exact phrasing, but it was about Bill Callahan in this situation. One, he'd be the obvious interim coach, but I don't think he'd be the interim coach. His son got fired. But it's like,
to me, day that would be on the show.
Yeah, how about that? But it's like, the only excuse, I guess, like if the offense is bad, Cam can't get any traction or whatever, and it's because the offensive line continues to just be a sieve, and that's a problem, and they can't fix it. I mean, in a way, that's the one, I guess, sort of excuse you could find with the offense and the things not working. But also, it would sort of, at some point, also maybe take some shine off what was one of the big wins of hiring Brian Callahan, is being able to get his dad and his offensive line coach. Like, that's got to get better.
I say people are going to blame Callahan right off the top if things don't go well. If the offensive line struggles again this year, we're going to look at, okay, was Skoronski a bad pick, or Latham moving over to right tackles? We're going to look at those things. But it's also going to turn pretty quickly into, well, I thought this Hall of Fame offensive line coach was good. Why does all of a sudden he come here and they can't get anything figured out on the offensive line?
Could be a good Titans fan poll. Which Callahan are you more mad at, Brian or Bill?
Yeah, could be. I mean, it sounds like, I'll put it to you this way, and maybe it's just because we're not really looking for it, because the Cam Ward and every throw he makes is kind of what we're focusing on in camp, but it doesn't sound like there's been a whole lot of conversation of, oh boy, Latham and Moore are struggling out there at the tackle spots. Like, when you're not really talking about your tackles that much, that's a good thing in football.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. I think it's more the interior people. Oh, my God, that's a freaky vision on a Monday morning, Koharski. Wear a mask in here, will you? What was I going to say? Like,
when you're talking,
how many
about
shows are you going to screw up today,
the
Koharski?
tackles you were talking about, of if you're not hearing about them, it's
we're hearing more about we're hearing a lot more about the interior people, which, again, I think that is where you actually you're going up against someone who is pretty good, and right now is moving pretty quickly. Number 98 there.
Mike from Nashville says, a good coach can make an average quarterback look good. Bad coach can make a good quarterback look bad. We'll see. I mean, again, if Ward struggles and there's not really any signs or significant signs throughout the year that it's getting better, I mean, Callahan's going to be the one that ends up paying the price for that, and certainly takes the blame for that from the fan base. So it's crucial early for them to look like a competent football team. Like, you're not going to, nobody's expecting the Titans to go out there and win 10 games this year. But can you look like you've got a clue as to what's going on and, moving the football on a somewhat consistent basis? Like, we recognize that you're going to be outclassed talent-wise in a lot of the games that you're going to be playing this year. But can you look like you got a clue as to what's going on out there more often than you did last year?
False starts. I mean, all these things are, I mean, they all play into a well-coached or a not well-coached team. But now we get to hear on Wednesday. We'll finally get to hear from Brian Callahan about his profanity-laced tirade on Sunday.
Looking forward to it. We'll see if Tennessee football puts out any videos today where the quarterback is redacted from the video. Keep our eyes on that throughout the rest of the fall camp. That does it for us today. Jake Lyman and Paul Kuharski coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.